What's up, guys, and welcome to Hot Takes. I am young
Hello.
Shiro, and this is my colleague Skeleton Lipstick.
Happy to be here. Wow, do we have an episode for you guys today?
Tremendous undertaking.
Can't even believe that you pulled this off, Isaac, and got everybody together. Amazing work. Honored isn't even the right word to say here. I said it before on Twitter, but honored isn't even the right word. It's not a strong enough word for me to really express how grateful that we are for not only having all these wonderful, phenomenal, fantastic, talented friends come on this show for their own episodes, but to have them all back again for this
almost
mega episode. Almost all of them, with the exception of Tech, who is very busy right now, and we love Tech very much, and we appreciate all his support, and we appreciate all, he was a big deal for us, particularly when we first started with when he was hosting Dino Hour and would raid our stream afterwards. So, although Tech can't be here with us, he is here in spirit. Tech, we love you. We hope you're not overwhelming yourself with too much right now, and we'll talk to you again soon. Much love to Tech Honors, not with us tonight, but here in spirit. But what we do have here is it's every other person who's been on before. Yes,
every single one. And they're all going to be joining us in a rotating fashion tonight. So the audience is invited and encouraged to fire off with any questions you have. Each guest will have a brief spot, unfortunately, because we got to get through 21 different people here. But we are excited. There's going to be a lot of hot takes. There's going to be a lot of discussion. And we invite all of you, whether you're a new viewer or whether you're an old-timer, to please participate. This is about you guys and the community that you've assisted us in creating around hot takes.
What an amazing day to have all of our talented friends take time out of their schedule to just join us for a little bit and celebrate music and art and being alive and talking and friendship. It's a beautiful scene, and I was gonna tear up that all these people have joined us tonight and have joined us for their own episodes. It takes a lot. Everyone's very busy.
True.
And it's an amazing thing to have all these people here and to just have all these wonderful people in our life in general. And just want to say a tremendous thank you to all of our guests here tonight and all the guests, and all the guests and each time they came here as well, for their own episodes.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We're going to start off the episode, since all of you guys know what Hot Takes is. We're just going to remind everyone to help us out. If the audio's too loud, too quiet, music, guests, let us know. Keep us in the loop. We're going to start out with a few recommendations. Quickly, I'm going to recommend a few albums that I found recently that aren't necessarily Vapor, but at least Vapor adjacent. I want to recommend a terrific dark synth album by Mega Drive that I just bought the other day, and that album is called Neuroframe. I'm going to drop a link in the chat. If anybody likes Carpenter Brute, Perturbator, alright, music's a little loud, got you Lux. If anybody is a fan of those dark 80s influenced vibes, you got to check out Neuroframe by Mega Drive. Coming up after that, one of our guests tonight, actually, Angel Mark Lloyd, under the name Mind Spring Memories, has an amazing album called Now I Lay Me Down in Dreamland, featuring one of my favorite songs, Return to Heaven Accepted. Check it out if you are a fan of Slushwave, if you're a fan of really ethereal, heavenly, poignant vaporwave. Check out Now I Lay Me Down in Dreamland by Angel Mark Lloyd himself, under the name Mind Spring Memories. And then finally, I'm going to round my recommendations for the night out with a split EP by a couple of lo-fi house acts, Monolithic and Computer Data. I've always felt like lo-fi house was inherently Vapor adjacent just because of how lo-fi and kind of retro themed it is. And there's probably a handful of artists that are a little more popular, like DJ Sabrina and DJ Seinfeld and Ross from Friends. But Monolithic and Computer Data are not to be ignored. Some very chill, very lo-fi, just vibey songs in this split EP. Links are in the chat. Check them out if you like what I recommend. Fire off a DM to me. Tell me what your favorite track was. And following those recs, we're going to start off with a hot take for tonight, courtesy of Skelly over here.
Jeez, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was so excited about this episode that it's been hard for me to have any kind of big hot takes about anything. As I'm just like, what do I have to complain about right now? I have all these wonderful, talented people joining us tonight in this wonderful, talented community that we're in. And I guess my hot take is, this is the vaporwave, show where we discuss things mostly within the vaporwave or vaporwave adjacent communities. But, at the end of the day, what is vaporwave? What is all this stuff? Is it, what is the genre itself? What is the sound itself? It's very difficult to say. So, is this a genre? I mean, or is this a movement?
True.
What's the difference? I always think of vaporwave as a bit of a movement, as something that's moved past the idea of a specific sound. But, there will be many people who will say, no, it is a specific thing, it is a specific sound. So, I guess my hot take is that vaporwave is a paradigm. It's a movement. It's not so much a sound anymore as it is a collective of artists and like-minded people who work within certain frames of ideas and have similar influences, but kind of at this point are just making most of their own things. There is a certain way to make a certain type of sound in vaporwave, but you're not limited to it. Well, I guess my hot take is that this is just a big community of artists influenced by similar things with similar goals in mind and working together as a community. I don't know. What do you got to say about this, Isaac?
Honestly, man, I was literally just talking with somebody about that today. Somebody who is very cool that recently entered into the drawing for that raffle that I mentioned at the end of the last episode. And I was like, Skelly said it best. It's really the new punk rock. Because of the fact that it's more about the ethos than it is really the sound at this point. Honestly, I think that it is the most communal or community-oriented, I guess would be a better word to use. I think it's the most community-oriented. I think it's the most supportive, experimental scene on the internet at the moment.
Yes.
Quiz is ribbing me about saying Skelly said it best. Hey, sometimes, the guy, I picked him for a reason.
Thank you.
And at the end of the day, I mean, what's most important is that we have a unifying, not cause per se. I mean, what are we really trying to achieve here other than making beautiful art?
I was trying to basically achieve creating a bit of a playground amongst different people to make what they like to make, to create what they like to create, and to have an audience for it, and to have some control over it too.
True.
To once again always maintain the control over the movement, right? To not really give it up to I don't want to sound like pretentious or anything, but when do I not sound pretentious? So as long as it stays in the hands of the people who love it. And I think that's one of the goals too, is to make sure it stays in the hands of the people that love it. And it's funny, even the people who rebel against vaporwave and who speak against it, they literally just serve the purpose of edifying it. Do you know what I mean? So in a way, people get mad at the people who have anger towards the movement or want to separate themselves from it, but you have to understand that that's actually an integral part of the movement as well. Is that sort of is that actually is the friction, and the fact that there's friction to begin with just sort of serves the purpose of the movement. You know what I mean? It just edifies it more.
I mean, I'm sure you've heard the phrase iron sharpening iron. I mean, things don't get sharper and better without friction.
I did not heard that expression before, but I very much
Really?
like it, actually.
Oh, yeah.
No, I just learned something.
I want to say that's probably from the Bible. I grew up religious, so I've heard
Absolutely.
that. I am about to summon our first guest, by the way.
Who are we bringing on first?
They are actually here now. And
oh, really?
May I remind you, sir, don't need to be on camera. Welcome. Everybody say hello to Christ.
Hey,
what's up,
John?
Can you hear me?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Let me turn you up. We are having some loudness issues.
One sec.
There we go. I've got you all the way up, brother. To reiterate, Go ahead and shut your camera off, man, if you don't mind. You look beautiful, by the way. But
I was gonna say one of us has to change.
Oh, no way. Oh, guys, I really wish I could show y'all right now. John has the same shirt that I have on, except in
no way.
the reverse color.
Okay, I'll turn
my.
off.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry. No, you're fine. We just want to make sure that our window captures look right.
You're fine.
For those of you that didn't hear, since I saw you were in our green room, John, our hot take of the day, Chris said that the vaporwave scene is more of a movement as opposed to a unifying sound or production technique. More of like a punk rock kind of way of doing things and community. I don't know if I'm paraphrasing him as well as I should be.
I don't mean to bring up the punk rock word with John. I know.
Yeah, hey.
You
know how I feel
Purposely-
about being called.
I do.
brought
I'm
that up.
sorry, John.
We want
Oh,
to
you
see,
did?
we want to know
Well,
what you think about
What
that.
my?
Yeah, we wanna know
Well,
what your
here's
thoughts are.
I do think that vaporwave has certainly taken a turn and is no longer exactly as it was back in 2013, 2012 when I joined up.
True.
So, it's this. Instead of just being sample based, like Plunderphonics post 2010, it's now just this nostalgia, invoking. Okay, John is so loud. I'm sorry.
No, that's
it
my
sounds
fault.
fine
When
to
you
me.
were on camera, I turned you up big time. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what happened to all the levels, but
It sounds
go
fine
on,
to
man.
me. Keep going.
All I'm saying is I feel like I'm sorry. What was the question again?
Oh, just what do you think vaporwave is nowadays?
There you go.
It's weird. This past year has been sort of a weird year for me because I've been sort of in and out of the scene. Like I have not been as active as I have been in previous years. Probably because I think I'm getting not tired of it, but it's just I keep seeing the same faces and I like everybody here, but I think I'm getting a little bit old for some of this stuff, and some of the new stuff coming up. I'm just not having the same feeling towards.
Interesting.
And that comes into my hot take.
Yeah, let's hear it.
That I feel like the vaporwave scene is starting to die a little bit. I'm not saying vaporwave is dead.
Damn. That's a hot
I'm
one.
not gonna be HKE 2016. I still think vaporwave has its place in the world and the music scene and in everything going on. But the way I see it, and maybe this is a little bit, what's the word? I don't see it evolving enough to survive. Because the thing is, getting new people in the scene is how you keep a scene alive.
True.
And or keep going, because people will eventually fall out of it, And I don't see nearly as many new people coming in and doing stuff differently than what has been done in the past per se. And if they are doing stuff differently, they're not really doing it in the vaporwave scene so much and doing it elsewhere. And it's just sort of becoming this cycle where these other genres are being made that were maybe inspired by vaporwave but aren't necessarily connected directly. There isn't the same nostalgic tinge to it.
Okay.
And you have projects that come out in the vaporwave scene that are very much, a different type of nostalgia, and we're starting to go to that. But
like the
I feel it's a
Y2K
lot of-
aesthetic.
yeah, I worry a little bit, and I've been worrying since 2014.
Wow.
I saw C-Punk and Chillwave and Witch House die in front of me, and I'm thinking
Yeah.
Vaporwave's next.
True.
And
Well,
it's why
I think
I
that
changed from a. Yeah, let me finish, Chris.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, John.
Oh man.
Sorry, John.
I forgot what I was going to say. Well,
You saw the other things die. You saying you saw these other ritual waves, the other things died. I think you were in the middle of that thought, yes?
Yeah, I saw these other things die, and I've rebranded business casual from vaporwave exclusively to being internet music
True.
because, in my mind, vaporwave was next because like how long could these things really survive? But vaporwave lasted a lot longer and has lasted a lot longer than I expected it to.
I mean, doesn't that just kind of mean because vaporwave and internet music sort of are just almost mean the same thing at this point, because vaporwave is one of the first big internet music movements, and it was created with such a sort of gelatinous idea behind it. And
Very
the other thing I
amorphous.
was thinking about with vaporwave is like movements are really only as good as their progenitors are. So like, I hate to bring up punk again, but punk was able to last because the people who preceded it and were the proto-punk artists were people like Patti Smith or Iggy Pop or the Stooges or Velvet Underground. So with vaporwave, you have these progenitors like, James Ferraro, One Tricks Point Never, and these are artists that were always very fluid in the first place as well. Like all their albums sound different, all their sounds are
You're
very
not
different.
wrong.
They're all over the place. So because that DNA is involved in vaporwave, it can be allowed to be all over the place. It can be almost synonymous with the concept of internet music, yeah? Or
I
what
mean,
do you think?
I just worry that we're getting to the end of this nostalgia craze that we've been in for the past 15 years.
Yeah.
Where because the thing is, like Star Wars, people are fucking tired of that. People are tired of the stuff from the 70s and 80s. I'm getting
Yeah.
Some
fucking tired of
people.
it. Let's
Oh yeah,
no,
me too,
no,
absolutely.
well, the thing is, like, I think the general audience and like people who are because I'm now it used to be a time when I was running business casual where if I saw somebody who was born past 2000, I was like, oh, I'm never gonna listen to it. But I
wild.
listened to it, but it's like some 13-year-old sending me their FL like loops pack thing. So I didn't expect much. But
Gotcha.
I mean, you
now
have a very
I-
interesting
like,
perspective.
Running a
on this with
label
what
for
you
that
do.
long has probably been really
running not only
exhausting.
a label,
I mean,
but like business casual, which is just one of the and I've said it before, is just like the best curator of the scene and practically.
but that's the thing.
You've
Like,
seen a lot.
I'm not getting the same sort of sounds that I used to anymore.
Interesting.
And I'm not getting older people my age or older said, and I'm getting stuff from new kids, and they don't necessarily sound like what I would think vaporwave is, and that's why I think vaporwave is not necessarily it's not what it was.
But they're still sending it to you. You know what I mean? They're still
Yeah,
sending it
sure.
to you. They want to be associated with you. They want to be associated with you, with the movement. So
True.
that's kind of interesting too. Yes, like these people are clearly inspired, right? If they're coming to you.
I think it's because I have one of the larger platforms, or not necessarily larger platforms, but consistent platforms. I've been
Yes.
around since 2013. I still put out
Yeah.
stuff just about every week.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
I
mean,
very much
you've been
try
putting out
to-
some real rippers lately. One Mind Stand was mind blowing, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I also fear that I'm starting to lose my edge a little bit. I'm starting to lose my ear to the wall. I'm getting old. I'm gonna be.
You're gonna be like that LCD sound system song now.
Yeah, well, it's. I
But we
feel
all
like
are.
Yeah, we all are. And
But
Things
you
change.
at least have the benefit of having the ear to a lot of young people.
True.
So they might send you something that just really like opens you up a lot. You never know, right?
no, I again, I just worry about the idea of like the whole entire like vaporwave and even the subgenres. I feel like a lot of them are getting pretty tired, and I just worry for the long term of this. Like, I see
that's fair.
vaporwave lasting, at least going into it another couple of years, but like another decade.
Time to
of
breathe
this.
some new life into it.
Well, I mean, it just really depends on new production techniques, new ideas, a redefinition of nostalgia, a redefinition of everything, I guess, right? I mean, what's
Well, the other thing is, what kid is looking at vaporwave, in 5 years that grew up with completely different set of things, looking at vaporwave and just saying, "Oh, this is like 80s, 90s. This is old. This is gross. I don't want to be associated with this."
This is gross.
I
I actually wonder. No, I agree. I agree with you. I actually wonder what's going to happen with the kids who are like like at least like a generation and a half down that are growing up not even with television and are growing up basically with tablets, right?
True.
Like, the thing about the kids who are younger than me, I'm older than everybody, but the thing is about the kids who are younger than me is I can still understand the nostalgia because it's still television shows. You know what I mean? It's
True.
still like things they grew up with. It's still things that I have access to and can look at. But I don't know what the fuck those kids are looking at on tablets who are like 10 or 5 or like 8, the young kids, like they're growing up with stuff that I won't even have any clue about and won't even know how to access to understand.
But and that's part of my like, not necessarily. Again, we're all getting old, and I think I've just sort of. I don't know if I'm well equipped right now to deal with some of this shit versus another 5 years from now, 10
True.
years from now.
I mean, everything does kind of end, but
Yeah.
there are the thing that keeps them going though are like the paradigms around them and the ideas around them, like goth or whatever. Like the first goth stuff started like late 70s, early 80s, but the concepts and the fashion and the art and the aesthetic, used to our aesthetic around it, continues to survive and mutate, right? And I could see that happening with vaporwave, where maybe the old ideas are like still like considered the classics in the same way, like I don't know, like Bauhaus or like New Order would be considered the classics. But then again, kids start doing other things with the ideas and other things with the art associated with it, and it just continues to transmogrify. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
We got another homie in chat that I want to bring in, if you guys don't mind, and see what they think about that. Wiz, go ahead and unmute yourself, buddy.
We'll bring in quiz with
We
John.
got not quiz. He
Quiz?
wishes. No, we got the Wizard of Loneliness.
I
on
wish
deck.
I was Quiz.
How's it going?
Yeah.
Awesome.
What's up, Colin?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
We really appreciate you joining tonight, and we want to know if you didn't hear what John had said. I don't want to poorly paraphrase somebody again.
I was listening. John's a downer.
All this makes me wonder. we gotta have every single person on here
That's a
again.
freaking downer.
Dude, we got to have every single person
way to
on here
kick
for a
off the
full
show
episode
there,
again,
buddy.
because it's just like I can't. Like I'm like I gotta have everybody back on for a full episode again. This is
Absolutely.
like so fun. I just love talking to everybody.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
So if you don't mind, stick around for a minute, John. But what do you think, Colin, about what John had to say?
We were talking in the green room over there. That same thing that I think, Chris, you were saying, that it's so interesting to hear somebody that curates so much music, of what we call like standard bearers of vaporwave from earlier days till now, having such a bleak outlook on something.
I mean,
And
maybe
yet-
a
I totally
realistic
get what
outlook.
John does,
But-
especially. It's really
Yeah,
hard to be
maybe.
such a pillar. Like I don't know how John does it.
But then again,
Me neither.
Knowing him from a few years back, he had the same outlook then, I think, as well. I think he's always very cautiously optimistic. I mean, anytime you talk to him about, like, I don't want to like put words in his mouth, but anytime you talk to him about what he's excited about, he's still just as passionate about like what the
for sure.
the artists he's really hyped on.
Hell
So
yeah.
like, but yeah, he's
I
a cautious
definitely-
old man.
Yeah, I think it's, you have to be when it's your, basically your job, and you want to do you want to right by the people you work with. You don't just want to put out garbage. You don't want to just peddle the same things. You want to change things. You want to stir the pot. You want to keep things being fresh.
Yeah, keep things moving, not let it stagnate.
But I like as I get older, it gets hard to do that. It gets I lose touch, with what's going on, or I lose touch with what's.
I mean, I think Chillwave has enjoyed a resurgence with all the chill synth stuff going on Stratford Court and like a lot of the 100p stuff. I think if Chillwave can come back a decade later, maybe Vaporwave does die. It'll come back,
I mean, ironically, like the chillwave stuff comes back under like a lot of vaporwave labels.
You're not wrong. George once
Like, it
famously
gets
said
ignored.
Chillwave was a Vaporwave subgenre.
Yeah.
It very
Why not?
much.
Why not?
It died real quick, and I don't think a lot of people got all the ideas out of it, and that's why a lot of these people who were doing chillwave before migrated to vaporwave or wanted to do chillwave, but there was no market for it, so they just did vaporwave.
You're not wrong. All right,
just think
John.
everything can migrate into
Yeah,
vaporwave.
all right,
Man, we
John.
gotta get John back for.
We gotta
everybody
get you back
for
on an
fucking
episode, but we
Jesus
also
Christ.
need to cycle
We need to
you
get
out
everybody
for
back
another
on an
guest.
episode.
Yes, hey,
Man.
let's have a good night.
Everybody say
I
goodnight to
think it's been a
John.
Love you, buddy.
Good
Thank you
night.
so
Thank you
much.
for joining us tonight, man.
John.
Love you.
Man, it's a fucking honor. Anyway.
Hell yeah. All right. So, Amos, honestly, you replied. You had a great personal inflection to that, but you mostly just kind of.
I
I want to hear.
I
want to hear.
stand
some,
on one side of it. I'm gonna agree with him. I guess.
True.
Yeah.
I find a lot of people. I mean, I run a much smaller label, but I find a lot of submissions are very much like, okay, here's my thing. I'm not going to compromise on what it is, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
then I don't know if we can
I
work
picked
together.
you for
And
a reason because you're a label owner as well to follow John because I knew you would have some insight too.
Yeah, I really, I mean, his scale is a lot bigger. So like he has a lot more to go through and listen to. So he sees the wide variety of it. I see a lot of people digging into their niche and just going like, here's what it is.
Right.
And so a lot of times on Twitter, I'm arguing. I think just yesterday, I was arguing about subgenres and you know the etymology of these genres.
Always some
because
great takes from you on Twitter.
a
man.
lot of, yeah, I should have saved it for now, but people get very up in arms about my just asking. I mean, I'm usually just asking, and
True.
and yes, my barber beats take, yeah. And it's not so much I'm coming from like out of the blue. Let me take a shit on barber beats or something.
Right.
Honest to goodness, like most of these questions are coming from I'm talking to an artist. They're sending something in. I'm talking to them, and almost always I ask them, describe your style. Like, what's your style? And so I'll hear multiple people, you know, dig in deep, dig their trench
Right.
of this is what their sound is. And I'll hear some things that sound very similar and people calling them completely different things.
Interesting.
And I think, you know, something that I am curious as we move further and further away from, you know, vaporwave starting is like, I think etymology and knowing where these, I think Chris, you were saying the progenitors of these genres, it's important to archive that stuff and know where
yeah.
things are going and coming from, especially.
Yeah.
Because it's important for there to be some sort of record of who's calling what, and not to say that there's a correct or, you know, absolute definition of a lot of the things. I think that's one of the best things about vaporwave as an, you know, umbrella genre is that people can find their niche and kind of, you know, carve something out within subgenres. But it sure makes discussion difficult when people are talking about the same genre but calling it different things. So
I do agree, and that's why an episode or two back, Chris said that he didn't think genres should coalesce around similar sounds, and I was like,
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
but
like, yes and
that'll make it
no.
hard for
Okay.
people to know that they're talking about the same
No,
thing.
I understand what I said, and like it's a yes and no with that. I get that. I get both. I understand. Like a movement is one thing, but like sounds are another thing. If you need to group things by sounds, that's great. But you know, I don't know. Like there is something like the super genres, and then there are
Right.
like these small genres underneath it. But the super genre is going to be like the movement. You know what I mean?
True.
yeah,
And you can make
but
a
that's
lot of things
easily
underneath.
identifiable because you see it, you hear it, you have a lot of different, you know, ways to identify it. And with these very small subgenres, you don't have that, you know, very visual tribalism behind it. You just have a
Wow.
bunch
Well
of
said,
random
visual
people
tribalism.
just going like, "Hey, this is what it is." This, like, I love those discussions on Twitter because I'll ask a question like that and I'll get you know, 8 different people answer 8 different answers, and
I love that
they're
too.
they're all so informative. And so like I hate when people are like, oh, why are you like shitting on, it's like I'm curious as much as the next guy about like what is everybody, you know, what's everybody's understanding of this, because it seems to shift, it seems to be different for every person. And as I
Agreed.
mean, I love that about the genre and all the subgenres. I also see it as a something that's going to be difficult for people getting into it later on. Like, let's say somebody coming into vaporwave as a whole genre later on, having to kind of sift through, well, what was called this, what is, and not that it matters because you like what you like, you listen to what you like. However, for me, it's more about how are people going to be able to find what they want, what they like?
How are
Well
people
said.
going to be able to find what they like?
We're going to bring in
that's
another
always
label
actually-
owner, actually,
that's
here in a
actually always
minute
been kind of a tough thing.
kind of go back and forth with you on that
With-
one. Waiting on the next homie to jump in. Do you want to go ahead and let us know what your hot take of the night is?
What was I was tweeting about something yesterday as well. Not the Barber Beats thing. What the hell was it? Oh, you know what? Going along with this theme of curation, I really think that it's a bunch of people responded on this idea as well. A bunch of different ideas of this idea of with everybody so disconnected because we're primarily, I mean, we do have live events and stuff, but it's a digitally native genre. I think this idea of separating art from artists is just keeps coming up, just because of the amount of the high volume of trolls.
Oh
in
man,
this
we got
scene.
some rippers tonight.
So like I want this to be my hot take is longevity. I want this to be something that people can continue to find without having to feel like, oh well, 2 out of 10 standard bearers for the genre are, cringe lords or trolls. Like I want there to be more, scene accountability for welcoming people in. True. And maybe less holding up of people whose music may be great, but they're really, shitting on the scene.
We are
That's my
going
hot
to.
take.
We're gonna honestly. That's a wonderful hot take, and I brought in yet another label owner. Everybody.
I wanted to say something about the. Oh.
Yeah, sorry, I cut you off earlier. I just.
No. Bring in the other
everybody
label
say
owner.
hi
Do
to
your thing.
Fiber, by the way. Fiber just jumped in. What's up, Alex?
Shoot,
Hello,
what's up, Alex?
how's it going? Hey, how's it going,
Yo.
Liz?
Yo.
So, one of the things that you said is very difficult to find what you like in the vaporwave thing without that delineation. But I don't know, it's always been kind of difficult to find what you like once you jump into these genres because you can't tell what anything's going to be half the time when you just click on a Bandcamp page. You have to actually go through and like listen to the sounds. That's why I always thought it's really impossible for any of my DJs in Philadelphia to do a vaporwave night because if they don't know anything about vaporwave and they click on a random album, it's definitely not going to be what they're looking for.
This is going to be a throwback, but do you guys remember the website? This is I found it on StumbleUpon long ago.
Oh, rest in peace, StumbleUpon.
It's Music Map. Do you guys remember that Music-Map? It was a blue screen. You type in the name of an artist, and then it like links you to it just creates a web of.
It still exists.
All sounds or whatever.
It still exists? Is that still
Yeah,
right?
I think it's music-map.com. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the reason I bring that up is because you could do that for. Well, I don't want to use the word traditional. I don't want to, bandy around other genres as traditional and vaporwave. It's not, because a lot of the, same, the stylistic stuff applies. But, if you do that for, let's say rock or alternative music was what I used it for, Indian alternative, you would get a lot of similar sounding artists. And I don't think that same thing is going to be possible for all the different subgenres of vaporwave, just because it's so divergent. There's so many different things splitting off.
You're not wrong.
That's what so like all the different niches, which is, again, I love that about this genre, that it allows for that. I also see it as like, you can't music map this genre. Is what I'm saying.
Alex, what do you think about what Colin had to say about keeping the scene inviting and holding people accountable?
Yeah. And let's bring that to like the future funk era, future funk side of that too.
Yeah. So one of the things that I actually did recently is host a panel at MagFest where we talked about this very topic.
Oh, is that up yet?
Okay, so there's a recording of it, but we would have to like edit it a little bit because I think that the way that it was recorded, like you can't really see the projector, so I would have to I can edit everything, and the audio is probably gonna suck a little bit, but we'll make it work.
I saw some clips of you and Disco on Instagram, and you guys sound so professional. I love it.
I know, I
goodness.
saw it too. Very impressed.
We had to rehearse that. So we finished the panel like a week prior to MagFest, and then we pretty much memorized the entire like 2-hour panel by memory. Wow. Disco specifically had to do it because he literally can't see the screen in front of him. So for the last few rehearsals, he actually did it in the helmet, so that like he couldn't look at
hardcore.
the projection notes. Yeah.
Everybody say goodnight to Colin real quick. Wiz, thanks for joining us tonight.
Colin. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
all.
buddy.
Alex.
Love and appreciate
Nice to
you.
hear
We're
about
gonna
you.
talk to you later,
Alex.
buddy. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Love you very much, man. I'll see you later.
Let's
Bye.
talk more, Wiz.
Later.
It's been a while. Peace.
Sorry for interrupting you there.
So, hold on. I want to get back to fiber for a moment because I know we've had John talking about like, oh, I don't know if the things are going to last, this and that. But
Yeah.
let's talk to fiber because I think
Yeah,
that
let's
we've
do.
seen a lot of artists get very big recently and do some pretty big shows recently. Obviously,
yeah.
the Macross show recently, and obviously
Yeah.
there's Young Bay. He's doing extremely well.
Should I turn on my
So-
camera, by the way?
No, sir, please. You have a
keep it
beautiful,
up.
lovely
Just keep it
still. Thank you
But
for
I
offering.
think that's
but
going to overload Isaac's
Gotcha.
computer.
you have your finger on the
Right
pulse
now.
of the most popular, I mean, unequivocally most popular side of vaporwave. So I feel like you would know.
Yeah. So, yeah, the thing is that over time, there was kind of this period where I didn't really understand like the idea, kind of like the token to like longevity, especially in this scene. I thought that like I kind of misattributed longevity to trying to not necessarily make the best music that you possibly can, but rather this like kind of strange, arbitrary like standards that I was set for myself for what it means to be like an ethical musician. Like we're
Okay.
doing so much sampling and whatnot in this genre that I thought, it's like it's very wrong to kind of just like rip off other artists, or to just like steal half of their song, essentially making a remix of an older track and then passing it off entirely as your own. So I thought that like over time, this kind of like faction of future funk might fizzle down. And I was very disappointed and almost a little bit bitter when I was younger to realize that it wasn't going to win. And I think that overall, because I've talked to a lot of these like, bigger artists, and now I've actually been able to meet, some of the bigger artists like Vantage, Macross 8299. I
Sick.
talked to Young Bay and their manager a little bit. And something that Vantage said during the Neon City Cruisin' show, like it was immediately after the Neon City Cruisin' New York show, like at like 3 a.m. in like some bar that we were at. Like I was talking to Young Bay's manager and him, and he said something along the lines of like, who cares what future funk is? If it's good, if it slaps, if people like it, it doesn't matter. So I have kind of understood that over time, I think longevity has less to do with like specifically what type of music that you're making or trying to necessarily classify yourself into a specific bubble. And I now understand future funk to be less of a stylistically similar sort of genre and more of like an inviting community where you can kind of like bring your own influences and wear your influences on your sleeve. And I think that is, to an extent, I think that the ticket to longevity is, and I talked about this in my panel, is just trying to consistently make music,
True.
and not necessarily doing the same thing over and over and over again. I think that sampling has absolutely nothing at this point. I think sampling and making sample-based music, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you make it every single day for 10 years and you never go outside of your comfort zone, you never make anything with any expectation or whatever, you're going to start to get extremely bored with making music and you're just not going to want to do it.
And it's probably like that with any kind of music. If you're just going to make the same
so
type
as
of
well.
rock roll music over and over again, if it sounded like what you made 10 years ago on an album, I mean, it'd probably be the same idea.
Yeah, I and that was something that I really
It has to be sustainable. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think that it's like, and I guess it's not necessarily that much of a hot take, but it's just that like I've kind of realized that over time, trying to make music that is like, you don't necessarily have to be boundary pushing. You just have to switch it up enough for you to not be bored with it, and it has nothing to do with your I guess like it has nothing to do with you making music that is like morally sound or ethical, and it has everything to do with whether or not you're going to be making music 10 years from now, or I've just quit.
Yeah, if you intend to keep it going for a long period of time. We're about to bring in another guest here in just a second, Fiber. Do you wanna let us know what your hot take for tonight is gonna be so that they can respond? Actually, they just joined us just now. Everybody say hi to Porter Vaughn.
What's up, Porter?
Hey, Porter. What's up?
Hi, my friend.
So, what is your hot take for the night, Alex?
I think, and this might be a little bit of a spicy take. I talked about this recently on Twitter. There's like a few people, I think, in the vaporwave genre where bigger artists that I guess like to get people kind of stirred up into a frenzy. They say things that are conventionally like offensive to try to piss people off. And I feel like some of these people, like, they use outrage to kind of like push their platform further. I'm not necessarily going to name names, but I think that we can think of a few artists and record labels that do this. But I personally think that while this is kind of impossible to avoid, I think that the fact that people keep giving them attention is the reason why they're still here and why they're still promoting negativity. And I think that if people paid less attention to those people that were spreading negativity in this scene, they would get bored and leave. But I don't think that that's happening anytime soon.
No, that definitely shouldn't have longevity.
I agree. But, you know, it's just human nature.
Yeah, exactly.
Porter, what are your thoughts on what Fiber just had to say?
So that's a good one because it's something that I've thought about as well. And there are different ways to look at it. And this conversation has actually come up in the Utopia District server.
Yeah, I remember this.
Shout out ED.
One of the arguments for like reacting to that is that you got to care about the things that you care about. Yeah. And the way that came up was because I am more the type who, I guess my attitude is, if you don't like it, like, just don't look at it. You know, curate your social media.
Well said. Yeah.
But it's easy for me to say that because I'm just kind of aloof with social media in general. Like, for me, it's no business to just like not look at it, not think about it. That's easy for me, but I can't really tell someone else, oh, like, you shouldn't care, because the point that was made on top of that was some of those negative people do still have a sphere of influence.
True.
And so, you know, it gets to a point where there are certain people you can't ignore, if that's fair to say.
Okay, yeah, fair.
I absolutely think that people do feed into it way too much, and they kind of need to realize what Fiber was saying is that that's what they want. They're capitalizing on that, and if you just don't give it to them, you know, they would starve without that attention.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with that.
I hate to admit, I do enjoy a little lighthearted mudslinging every now and then, but at the end of the day, if it's hurting people, it's definitely, you can't feed the trolls.
I try. Yeah. I get into it a little bit, and then like after like I get like that initial hit of like dopamine, I feel like crap being a part of, like,
well said.
Just like drama.
It's funny
just, it gets overwhelming.
Whenever I see people who are using a lot of negative things or saying a lot of negative things, it's funny. It draws me to them, not because of the negative and not because I'm getting angry, but because I'm like, you know, a lot of them, some of these people do have interesting points or do create interesting things. And I'm always looking to that. And if they say something that's a nice thing or an interesting thing, or they make an interesting piece of art, like, I'll go support that. You know, I'll be like, yeah, I like it when you do interesting things.
Okay,
and say
positive
interesting
reinforcement. There you
go.
Well,
I mean, I like it when, I don't know, you know, when the people who maybe are mired in negativity make an interesting point or do an interesting thing or support somebody or expose me to an interesting artist or say an insightful thing. Then I will like it, and then I'll encourage that.
Yeah,
because,
you're not wrong.
You know, nobody is just one thing, right? You know what I mean? And I try to, and I keep that in mind, and you know, I don't want to support the things that make me upset. I don't, but because they don't. Some of them are very interesting people, or very interesting artists, or make interesting things, and
or
sometimes what they're doing is, or I've known them for a long time, and I know there's a lot to them, And it's I don't write people off. I think like John's like never mute, and I'm like, yeah, me too. Pretty much.
Right.
Never
I kind
mute,
of
never
agree.
log
I
off.
don't like the echo chamber.
But everybody needs to
Yeah.
deal with this the way they need to deal with it. And just because I'm doing it this way, and just because I'm like seeing these people in this way and looking at this, doesn't mean that you have to, and doesn't mean that they have to, and it's just what works for me.
You know what? I really
Anyways.
appreciate that you're saying all that, because I think I'm a lot like you, Dr. Chris. I think you and I actually have a lot of mutuals, where people are they're contentious, to say the least. No need to name names, but I think
I know
you and I are both generally those people who, not even just see like the human in certain people, but I think we can really gauge how much are we supporting a person versus how much
Right.
are we supporting the art. And in some cases where that's a little foggy, you gotta look at the nuances a little more. And just like you said at the end there, I can't control that. Maybe I have a mutual that other people would rather I didn't have. And if it comes down to it, sometimes you just don't know what someone's like. If you're like me, you're just not looking at Twitter all the time. In other cases, like Shiro said, it's someone you know for a while. And, sometimes it's something where I just feel a certain way about someone, and I know, how much I support them and which ways I do or don't. And if someone was to ask me, like, hey, you follow this person, I would have no problem having that conversation and, like, explaining my reasons.
Me too.
So-
Same.
I was gonna say,
Go ahead.
Soft Replica said that's the sucky thing about outrage culture is that it can discount solid opinion from the basis of one's attitude. To a certain extent, I kind of agree with that, because there's this idea where there's kind of like the mob mentality, especially on social media. But I do also think that to a certain extent, and I don't think that I think I really like Chris's point specifically about like mutuals and seeing the good in other people. But I also have to think about the fact that you kind of have to think about the fact that once you put your music out there on the internet, you are essentially putting it on a platform that is open to criticism. So to a certain extent, there needs to be this sort of balance between like, are you doing stuff that's shitty or are you not doing stuff that's shitty?
Right.
But I do think that balance can grow out of line, can grow out of whack very, very quickly, and it's very difficult to maintain that when like you just have like random people on Twitter that are like, pulling the reins and trying to make somebody accountable for that. It also has to come down to the person that's making those decisions, and like having a bit of like self-introspection, realizing, hey, maybe I agree with the thing that I did and I don't think it's controversial, or maybe I have to take a step back, look at other people's like opinions. Maybe what I did was insensitive. Maybe what I said was wrong,
True.
And I think that requires like a level of self-moderation, but also you can't really expect to not be criticized if you're putting your music out on, like a public forum like this.
Well said.
Yeah, be careful
Fiber,
about
we gotta let you go, man. But thank you so much for that insight, and thank
Love
you so much
Alex.
for joining
Hey,
us.
we gotta get everybody
You're
on
a
for
real
like a full
homie, man.
episode again. Everyone's
sure.
so great and insightful.
Thank you for joining us
man.
tonight, buddy.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Sorry if I was a little scrambly. I just got off of an interview like
You're good.
15 minutes ago.
You're
You're
good,
good.
buddy. You're good, and congrats on the
Take it easy,
interview.
my friend.
Thanks.
Yeah, have a
thanks.
lovely
All
night.
right. You too. Catch you later, Porter.
I was gonna say I've seen a lot of those posts that you were mentioning, Porter. No naming names, of course, but people do seem to want to call people out just based on who they associate with, who they're like kind to, who they tolerate.
This stuff on
It's a
Twitter.
little much.
It's all one dimensional. It's all one dimensional,
It is.
man. I don't like. It's all very
all
one
zeros
dimensional.
and
You have to
ones.
remember when you're looking at these things. Yeah, zeros and ones, man. There's human beings attached to these things. Have a lot of different like nuance and things going on. Some good ideas, some bad ideas. I don't know. Porter, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing quite well.
Happy to have you.
One of our favorite episodes, my personal favorites, was with Porter, so we're really excited to have you back.
Yeah, he's
that was a really good time. It's good to be back.
It was a very poignant episode.
Porter is a healing talisman embodied to a person. But
I don't know about that.
I do.
Well, how do you
so-
feel about vaporwave? What do you think this is? What do you think vaporwave is?
Okay, so I think this is a good way to actually segue into my hot take.
Yes, let's do
Great.
that. And real quick, I'm going to call our next guest on, so let her rip.
Okay, so first off, I just want to like make it clear that this is not saying anything is good or bad. But my take is that vaporwave, as much as it's not just a sound and an aesthetic, it's a movement or a vibe or whatever. Vaporwave is not an endless, infinite sphere of possibilities, and it is limited. And at some point, it reaches those limits, and it won't be able to go any farther.
Yeah,
I guess
everything has a lifespan.
everything does. Everything has a life. So everything also not just has a lifespan, but it has like a bubble that can be pushed out only so far, right? Like
Well, I know
everything
some
cannot
people
be
feel
got,
that
right?
in like 10 or 20 years, people are just gonna like keep making vaporwave, but the sound's gonna be different because they're just gonna like sample the music that's coming out now.
Right.
It's coming out when
They're
they're a
just gonna
kid. And my
sample something
feeling is
different.
no, like those
Maybe
kids,
not.
they're gonna make their whole own different thing. And vaporwave, I think, is always just gonna kind of be like that pre-internet, post-internet music.
True.
Harkening back to that time, that Y2K 80s 90s time.
Everybody say hello to Indie Advance. We got a fellow Canadian in.
Hello.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, Indy?
How's everyone?
I
Pleasure to be
boosted
here.
your audio just in case. So, Indy,
Awesome.
you and Porter have actually hung out a couple times, no?
Couple
Yes, we
times,
Safe to
yeah.
bring that up. So,
Hell yeah.
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 You
Couple
are
sleepovers.
Yep.
Oh,
jealous.
how fun! I'm so
Jealous.
jealous right now.
I'm
You
still
guys
waiting
get to
for
sleep
Chris to
over.
invite me.
I want to sleep over with Indy and Porter too. That sounds so fun.
Oh man, it was like a ice cream slumber party social.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Man, that's what Vaporwave's all about right there.
That's
Is
what
the
I'm talking
friendship and the exchange of ideas and the having a community of like-minded people with various interesting
and
other
American flags,
interests in
and do you
music.
believe in life after love?
Here's the thing about Vaporwave is just like everybody involved in it has so many interesting musical takes and musical ideas and is influenced by so much different music that I don't see that in any other genre. And that's like one of the big things I think that keeps Vaporwave going is the people attracted to it oftentimes come from this background of a variety of musics, you know what I mean? A variety of knowing the cool artists in the different genres, and then you just make your way to Vaporwave because there's so much to play with.
Porter, do you want to reiterate your hot
Well
take
said.
for us really quick for Indy? In case
Yeah.
he missed it?
Well, the hot take is just that, despite some people feeling that vaporwave will kind of just like always go on and always be this like active, prominent morphing thing, I think no, it has its limits and it's not necessarily this endless, infinite realm of possibilities.
Man.
I read you.
What do you
I
think,
read
Andy?
you.
Yeah, we want to know what you think
Yeah,
about
What do you
that,
think,
Indy.
Indy? That's
Yeah, it goes back to what John was saying, right? At the beginning, how vaporwave is quote unquote dying or changing over the past 2 years. Maybe the pandemic has something to do with it. I
Good point.
don't quite know the reason. But what I'll say is it's funny, it leads right into my hot take. Which is
how
perfect.
convenient.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Nice. Great
So
minds think alike.
exactly.
You're not
bro.
wrong.
So it's like, what does it take for an artist in vaporwave to get to that level that artists did and are still at from over the years, like 2014, 13, 15, 16, 17, like St. Pepsi or Flamingosis. You guys were talking about Young Bay.
Yeah.
Is it even possible for a new artist to reach those heights just from how good the album is? Like the album art, the concept, the music, and like what is it about
So
vaporwave?
are you saying there was like an appropriate time for that to happen, like a right time, right place, and that may never be replicated in the future?
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's true. And like
Damn.
it is being in vaporwave holding our artists back to compare to something like lo-fi hip-hop, which is
Huge.
Lo-fi hip hop
come around.
Yeah,
it's pretty big.
lo-fi hip hop is big because it's just background music. Like you can put it on and rack up all. But do any of them tour? Do any of them do live things? Do any of them even make music videos? Do any of them? I mean,
Yeah.
do they even?
So
Do
They
they
don't
even
really
throw
do that
dance
much aside
parties?
from.
so the
Do they even throw dance parties?
They do. I've seen some online lo-fi hip hop events, and I find that generally, like Twitch streams kind of thing during the pandemic, they get invited to bigger events though, like Coachella and all these things. Like if you look at artists like Swum or Ginseng or Idealism.
I gotta say, man, you have such a wealth of knowledge about various genres. But want to jump in real quick and wish Porter a lovely night. We gotta kick you off now, buddy.
Porter, love you, buddy.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
We love you so much.
We'll have another slumber party soon.
I actually think that a lot of vaporwave has a better chance than some of the other genres, because the thing about the lo-fi hip-hop is that, yes, Swum has a place, but do the other ones have as big a place if they want to go live, if they want to be live, or are people going to be like, I have this is the one I listen to, why should, like, not the lo-fi hip-hop fans, but the mainstream audience, right? They might be like, well, I got this, I don't need a million more of it. With vaporwave, there's a lot of different sounds in it. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like Equip doesn't sound like FM Skyline, doesn't sound like Vapor, or doesn't sound like Enrail. You know what I mean?
True.
So there might be like you could add these little characters to your playlist and go see them live and not get tired of it because you're not hearing the same thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why electronica works so well.
Yeah, absolutely. You generally don't see IRL lo-fi hip hop shows. That's certainly a vaporwave thing, like a lot of other genres as well. But these individual artists will get invited to more contemporary type events where being a part of that, a byproduct is having these people that didn't go see who was on the main stage go see you. True. And maybe buy a CD or whatever. That's how it was for me at like Warped Tour and things like that, right?
Oh, damn.
So how do we get the artists from vaporwave into more events that aren't just for the same crowd that already likes vaporwave, which is what happened to artists like Young Bay, Flamingosis, right?
Hell yeah, Flamingosis blew up too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it just goes back to John's point. Like, is it because vaporwave is reached its ceiling and we aren't getting those? You know, there are certainly lots of new sounds. You mentioned Enrail. That's a great example.
Mm-hmm.
Enrail has a very
took it in a very different direction.
Sound. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I thought we hit our ceiling like 8 years ago. So like, who knows?
Surprise!
Interesting.
I thought we hit our ceiling like 8 years ago. Once like Ryan came out with Prom King, and I thought. That was it.
I remember when Lux and St. Pepsi were new, and I was like,
and
Nmesh, like, what is this shit? I don't know about all this. 2013, LMAO, almost a damn decade ago.
The thing is, it's like I don't know. Maybe it's not about hitting the ceiling. It's about like I don't know. Just pushing into another ceiling. I don't even know, man. It's hard to say.
It is. It definitely is. Like, I find albums come out for small to mid-size artists. Albums come out, a couple people hear them, they download them, maybe they buy them, maybe it gets a tape, and then that's it. And there's so many albums coming out, things get kind of suffocated and buried, which is what I'm trying to use Utopia District for as a platform. To put the smaller things in front of artists, because all people really get is the Bandcamp email from the label that put out their album, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, like, to go off of John's point, how do we save vaporwave and push it to that next level so that people can make a living off of it? That's what we want at the end of the day, right?
This episode is starting to sound like an episode of Intervention.
Now that is the question that not even the vaporwave artists are asking, but every single independent artist out there who's doing something is trying to figure it out. And
just from the album
alone, I don't know, man. It's hard to say. Like, I can't even tell what's popular and what's not popular anymore because it's just statistics and this and that on like Spotify or Bandcamp can be like faked so easily. And like sometimes like I just listen to my Spotify playlist and like some random like indie band comes on and I look at them, I'm like 400,000 listens a month. I'm like, who even is this?
Right.
Like, are they really this popular, or is this just being inflated by something else?
Interesting.
It very easily could be. Because meanwhile, I see them come to like tour around Philadelphia and they're playing the smallest venue and nobody's going to go see it.
Oh man, like, yeah, that's a pretty defining line.
Who is he? What is popular? Who even knows at these days? You know what I mean? Every metrics can be faked so easily these days.
Oh yeah, it's people that buy followers.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, most of these people who are getting into music and become extremely successful, that's in, like, your favorite indie rock band, motherfucker, those people are rich. They're from, like, the Valley.
Oh, shit.
Like, they actually have money. Their parents are lawyers. They have connections. You don't think they do. They do. Like, that's who gets really popular. Like, your favorite indie artist probably has some rich parent or probably has some connection that you don't even know about. That, like, fucking bought all this shit for them, and you don't even know. And you think they're just some fucking garage rock band bullshit. Like, vaporwave actually has some kind of integrity to it because it is pretty homegrown. It's very punk rock.
Definitely.
But like all this other shit, man, it's like it's hard to tell what's real. You know, the more internet we get, the more it's difficult to tell what's real. Now that'll make a good vaporwave album. Someone talk about this.
Guys, FM Skyline just jumped in. What's going on, Pete?
Hey.
Welcome.
How are you, buddy?
I'm all right. How you guys doing? Can you hear me okay?
Better now that you're here. Let me turn you up a little bit.
Yeah. There.
Indy.
Yeah, just before I go.
Yeah, let's.
I wanted to say.
Oh, you're on for about another 5 or so.
You're
okay, awesome. Yeah. The reason I brought up lo-fi hip hop is because it's also sort of a grassroots movement with bedroom producers, like usually one person, right? But you talked about an artist. Who was it? Equip. Yeah. You know, Equip stuff came out a bit later. I think he's doing
2014 maybe.
A pretty good job of creating a brand for himself and having people follow him just for him and kind of veer off the path of vaporwave. True. And we sort of see that with like Miyazuki Bigwave, who also has a very big cult following. So like, is that required now?
Skyline, who's joining us right now, is doing that same thing.
Absolutely. Pete's taking it in a crazy different direction.
Pete's doing his own thing.
I can't believe I missed him at Electronicon.
Yeah, he's another guy.
I am so like stoked on it, honestly. Just
let's hear
that
your
ceiling I talked about. He's pushing it.
He really is. Honestly, I think Pete would really do well to collaborate with some of the vapor adjacent artists.
He kind of already is. He's remixing them.
Good. I bet it's amazing. Like,
it's absolutely
true. That is true.
The small black thing was an interesting pivot.
That is true.
It was. That's so cool. Love that.
Well, you know, I was talking to Lux about one of the tracks from your latest album, and it's low-key a shoegaze song, like just with synthesizers. You know.
Right, because shoegaze is in our genealogy, you know, of sound.
Very much so.
I mean, right. So I think,
would agree.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't want to continue start launching onto my thing while Indy's still going.
Well, Indy, why don't you reiterate your hot take so that Pete can see what he has to say about that?
So based on the sound of the album, the concept and the art, the whole package, is it possible to reach that level that Flamingosis and St. Pepsi made it to those many years ago? Does it require something like what Equip or what Miyazuki Bigwave are doing, or yourself now, where you have to get that loyal kind of cult following and make a brand for yourself, carve out that path?
That's a good question. You know, many of us are really trying to figure it out. You know, like you said about Equip, yeah, he's definitely got. You know, he's become a brand, and you know, like DDS, of course, you know, they have this kind of like, they're like a cult, you know, of their own.
True. Yeah. Oh yeah, man, they've got some ardent followers.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And then like we brought up the like working with Small Black was really cool, because I went on tour with them for a little bit in September.
Oh, that had to be cool.
It was pretty cool. The whatever variant we were being destroyed by was sort of creeping in, so the attendance was reflecting that. But at the same time, it was cool. It was really cool to, like, every show that I played with them, people were there for the for Small Black, and then I had all these new fans that would just have never in a million years ever thought they'd be listening to some kind of like Jan Hammer reimagination thing or whatever, whatever you want to call it is that I'm doing, you know?
Yeah.
They saw your album covers at the merch table and made their own idea, their own world building. Yeah,
so I mean, so those opportunities are really cool, and I think Vaporwave sort of speak to and honor, a point that's been going on longer. We'll continue, because I think it's a mistake to think of vaporwave as a genre. It is like it's like art movement and art idea. It's a mistake to think about it as a genre.
It's a paradigm.
Yeah, that was our first kind
I call it a methodology.
Yeah, it's like an art movement or something, or like maybe it's something uniquely post 9/11, late capitalism, blah blah blah. Maybe it's just a unique entity that just an art movement basically. But I think those ideas will keep going. So I guess I can just start right here. I guess my hot take is that vaporwave is it's been an art movement, and I think it's a mistake to think about it as a genre and to think, okay, so it's 80s and then it's 90s. Okay, now we got to do Y2K. And then,
I agree. We don't have to keep doing that thing.
That's a mistake.
Rehashing each decade.
What's really interesting to me is that it's more like curating these looked over things. Like one of my things that has changed my life, was discovering library music and taking a deeper dive into video game music, as a result of sort of the archaeology that has been done and musically and vaporwave. So I think those ideas.
I like that.
I like that phraseology too.
I like that so much.
Let's go ahead and wish Indy Advan a good night real quick, guys. Indy, thanks for joining us.
Indy, thank you.
And special shout out to you for being so helpful to us all the time. Shout out Indy Advan.
The absolute best.
Oh, no worries. You guys are the best. It's my pleasure.
Best tier human right there.
I love you.
I love you.
Be
Indy.
well. Best.
Good night, Indy.
Best guys around. Best podcast around.
Oh my God.
Peace out. Nice to talk to you, Keith. Bye.
Man, that's the homie right there. Didn't mean to cut you off there, by the way, Pete.
You were saying, sir.
Dropped out there.
Oh,
oops.
Oh yikes! You're back. We hear you.
You're back. You got.
That was weird. I kind of hung up with Indy. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
No worries. You're good.
So I'm kind of going on. I guess I'm just kind of rambling, but so I think I liked John's question at the beginning because it's important to wonder about this, right?
Yeah,
I think
true.
it's important.
Yeah.
But I think it's just important for people to look at a wider scope of what vaporwave is supposed to be and maybe some of the I think whether you're sampling or composing music, I don't care. That doesn't matter.
Right.
But I think innovation is really important, and it's got to be.
I agree.
People have got to be really trying to, bring.
You don't have to reinvent
innovation.
the wheel, but you do have to evolve.
You have to dig deep inside yourself to make it unique. You know what I mean? It's like you can't just follow the rubric. When you dig inside yourself and you find your influences and then frame it in this world, that's what makes it unique. That's what keeps it interesting.
Right, to conceptualize is really important. To curate, these things are really important. The concepts and things like that. And, not the what decade are we doing. That doesn't make any difference to me.
I know the original vaporwave was very much a 80s throwback type of remix art, but vaporwave overall, in my opinion, is kind of timeless. It's very liminal. It kind of, I know you're a huge fan of that word there, Chris, but it almost is timeless. It kind of tricks the mind into evoking this nostalgia, that can't really be pinpointed.
Or never exist.
Would you say? Would you guys?
Just in your mind, yeah.
Would you guys say that nostalgia is a pillar of the scene, or is that just incidental?
I think nostalgia is just another tool, another color in the palette
sells.
that you can paint with.
Especially under late stage Western
I think it's the
capitalism.
concept of time in general. That's what. Now, vaporwave to me has been more about the concept of time in general, and that time could be a nostalgia for the future, a nostalgia for the past. Please, for the love of God, tell me what world did the Macintosh Plus album look like a nostalgic cover from? Nothing looked like that ever. There are bits and pieces of things everywhere, but that's a fucking weird combination of the future and the past. This is ridiculous that we think it's only nostalgia based.
Yeah,
True.
I mean, because it's
hey, that's why I asked.
You can look a lot of other places and see, you look at in early punk in the 80s and late 70s. They were looking to 50s greaser rock and stuff.
It's true.
I mean, so it's
rockabilly and shit.
It's like that concept.
Interesting.
Is what vaporwave is about. When things are kind of just reinventing things, and I think vaporwave will outlive I mean, hyperpop has blown up, and I mean, hyperpop is so, it's like you can go on YouTube right now and be like, look up some producer making, you know, I'm gonna make a hyperpop beat, and you know, we might see hyperpop go out of fad while vaporwave is still going.
It sure blew up fast.
That is specific genre.
Well, I agree with Pete. I think that the thing that happens with this stuff, especially if it's like hyperpop or if it's like it's got a specific idea that people want things to sound like, is they do get tired of it because it's like, oh, I already have my 100 gex, or I already have this right here. I don't need the other ones as much now. And so 100 gex will be fine. They'll be fine forever. But the person trying to copy
they'll be the
them,
Salem of hyperpop.
They'll be the Salem of hyperpop. Exactly.
Right.
Everybody say hi to Lux Elite.
Oh shit.
Lux Elite just jumped in.
Oh, son of a bitch.
How you doing?
Hey.
Yeah, let me boost you a little bit.
Oh, you sound great. Your voice is back.
Yeah.
I know. This is like the first time I've sounded normal in fucking days.
Yeah.
I'm so hyped. Like, I was afraid I was gonna be sounding like a toad.
A toad.
Like, or a mouse. Like, I didn't know what the fuck to expect. But here I am, sounding normal.
Yeah. We're excited to have you here tonight.
Thank you.
Pete had a very, I mean, we seem to have this like theme that's running tonight.
I love it. I love it, man. I knew it would gel. Like, I knew this is what would happen.
I knew that like all these great minds together would,
I love it. Everyone's so
riff off of each other.
Smart things. Everyone's so intelligent and thoughtful. I love it.
No shit, right? We have no dummies on the Hot Takes podcast tonight. Pete, can you run us through that hot take one more time?
I feel like I said a bunch of things. Now I don't even know what I was saying.
You said,
dude, that's how I feel all the time.
I actually really want to know what Lux has to say about this because I'm sorry.
Vaporwave is like a curation. You know, it's a curation. I think it's a mistake to think of it about it as a music genre and be like, is this going to last as long as emo? Is this going to last as long as hyperpop? I think it's kind of like, you know, it's sort of like an idea of curating things a certain way. So I think because of that, it could last longer than. Like people have already pointed out, you know, like the lo-fi hip hop and things that are easier to figure out and easier to get enough of. You know, I guess that was my hot take.
That's a good one, man. Let's hear it from somebody who's been around since almost the very beginning, if not the very beginning.
Should be here since the beginning.
What do you think about
Pretty
that, Lex?
much. First off, this is like my time to say wacky, wonky, window.
Yeah!
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna do it.
Do it.
Oh my god!
What
a callback! What a callback!
Nicely done.
It's time.
Wow.
Damn it.
God damn it! What a
She's not
callback!
wrong.
I did not see that coming.
I'm afraid to keep that joke running. I don't want to like piss anybody off, but hey.
I wish Luke was here.
Oh, Luke will eventually. I'm pretty sure he's in Hong Kong, right? We could make that happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
We could make that happen.
Definitely.
All right.
So I can understand, going back to what John was saying, I very much do get where he's coming from. Like I said in the chat, I fully expected. I'm sorry, Crosby, no laps, baby. Sorry, my cat is trying to ease her way through here. Sorry. But I expected it to die pretty quickly, but I was also used to like Chillwave didn't really have a long lasting time frame. Witch House didn't have a very like it very much like I think Chillwave was the longest lasting at that time. Witch House kind of lasted for a little bit, but it kind of shot itself in the foot.
In America, that is.
See, punk, LOL.
Oh yeah, we know your thoughts.
I have a lot of feelings.
We know your thoughts.
No comment. Well, there will be a comment later, but not just yet. But yeah, I can understand where he was coming from, but like I very much I kind of expected Vaporwave to be dead too. Like I fully expected going into this in 2011, like, oh, this is really exciting. I'm gonna watch this die in 2014. That's cool.
It certainly felt like
I
it.
fully expected it.
Maybe not in 2014, but like 16.
Well, I was pleasantly surprised that whenever I joined in 2012, that it continued to flourish and continue to get a fan base. Like I sure as fuck didn't expect that. I expected it to be like a really small niche genre. So I'm pleased to see how it's grown. Nonetheless, that's straying from Pete's take, which is I agree to an extent. Like I'm one of those people. I will say my love for vaporwave is nostalgia. I'm sorry, guys. I know that
It's
That's why I really
allowed to
wanted to know
be
what you would
no,
say.
no. It's allowed to be that. That I didn't mean to.
I know, but I know it's like for me, it's a lot of it is nostalgia. Like
True.
going back to a time that
Pop
I
culture
mean, yeah, I was
nostalgia.
born in '88, but like I discovered a lot of like '80s shit right around 2010. Like I actually used to hate the '80s back in the day.
Same.
Like I
No way.
I did too, man.
Oh my
Used to
gosh.
hate
like I
smooth
used
jazz.
to hate it.
Not sure what's wrong
I
with
used
me.
yeah, like I hated all of it, but like
That's
it
shocking.
I
snapped
know, right?
in 2010 with LA Vampires and Matrix Metals.
very
like
cool.
that was the
Oh,
time.
Matrix
when-
Metals. Yeah.
Throwback to
Forgot
Hypnagogia.
about Matrix.
Yes, like that was how it snapped for me. So like it was fully like Lux kind of came into a time where I was really nostalgic for the 80s because I was also really fascinated with the commercial blocks. So like Lux is like in this like mid to late 80s going into early 90s like commercial block world. And I might sound same as fuck. I probably do sound samey.
Yeah, but
I
you're
mean,
great at sample hunting. I mean, you found samples that I don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
I've ever
but
heard somebody else use.
It's
And
an
a
entire
immaculate curator. That's
exactly,
Thank
and
you.
it's an entire experience listening to a Lux album and involving yourself in that world. And that's the thing about the vaporwave artists is they create a world,
World
and that's
building
like
for sure.
this is one planet right here. Here's another planet right here, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. Yeah, and like
My world is weird commercial blocks. They
Dude.
last for 30 seconds and then you go on to the next one. It's
I love it.
probably a pizza ad.
Oh my god!
Fucking rules.
Listen, this nostalgia is
It was
all
great.
over my music too. I only work with like nostalgic synthesizers most
True.
of the time, but I'll mix them up with other things. But yeah,
Yeah.
like for real, it's a paint. It's one of the paints in the palette.
Mhm.
All right, Chris, Lux, say goodnight to Pete. Thank you for joining us.
Pete, I
F and
love
Skelly.
you.
Love you so
Well, me
much, buddy.
too.
Big love for
We
you,
will
buddy.
hang out soon.
Mwah.
Can't wait to see
Mwah.
you again. Sorry about
Well,
that.
anyway, but yeah, a Lux album is an entire experience, and that's what you want to do as a vaporwave artist is create a world. When someone enters the album, you've entered this person's world that they've like created, and I mean that's always been like the perfect thing about the Luxury Elite albums for me at least.
Well,
But
thank
anyway,
you.
of course,
Yeah, very, very
you.
unique, very unified in sound, very like
cohesive.
very deep cut type of experience. Like I feel like it's almost like a period piece listening to one of your albums.
Well, thank you.
Very
Yes, I
immersive. That's
agree.
the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I want to show you a world that I wished I lived in, or
I
that
love
at
that.
least we could be
Escapism
in.
at its
Like
finest.
100%. I was
Fucking-
dealing with
yeah.
some shit, and that was like my world I went into. So I'm like, look at this inviting world that I've gone in. Come in and join me. Look at this world that I wish were real. It's
Right.
not,
Wow.
but let's
Yeah.
just have this like teaser of what it could be, kind of thing.
Wow, that's really interesting.
What do you think
Yeah.
about the longevity of
Wow.
the genre? Because you're very much a purist, and,
Yeah,
and you kind of are part of the old
Love that.
guard in a good way. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a lot of spin-offs and a lot of experimentation. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, originally I was like, I remember being like a snob about it. Like, I'll admit, whenever Blink Banshee came
I
on
think
the
we've all
scene, I
been
was
a
like,
snob,
who the
at
fuck
least.
is this dude?
Yeah.
Who's
yeah.
Really?
this person? This
Hot take,
is
Lux, not a
vaporwave.
Blink Banshee
What the
fan.
fuck? What is this?
Well, I get it.
Help
Like
me out.
they never
Damn,
really involved
son.
themselves very much with many people.
True,
Yeah,
and
I was just
they're
like, what the fuck? You're
kinda
hopping
shitty
on
to
my
their fans,
vaporwave tag. What the
low-key.
fuck are you doing? Like, get away from here. But I mean, I
kind of
know.
like the music.
I love
I
Blink
like
Banshee, but man,
I like my. Well, we want to. All right. Anyway, back to
yeah, back to what she had to say.
Look. So what were we talking about again?
But no, I was just saying I'm a purist, and I used to be
Yes.
like very bah humbug at like newer sounds because I enjoyed the quote, like the purist kind
Yes.
of ordeal. I thought it was
The
amazing.
finest.
I like seeing
course.
people expand on that, but
Yes.
then I realized I was like, God damn it, Locke, stop being a snob. These people, despite doing their own different thing, there is still a love of vaporwave there. It is still
Yeah.
paralleling what is happening in vaporwave. They're just and doing it in a different way, and that is okay. Stop.
You don't want
boxing
Skelly to say that you
me.
sound old.
I totally sound old.
You sound like
No, you don't.
your own
You don't want to hear
dimension
Skelly tell you
altogether.
you
That's
sound
pretty
old.
okay. Are you still never gonna let me forget that I said that to you? I think
It
you were
was
just
funny.
making- It's literally because I think you were making fun of like EDM music.
We were
or
talking about
I had to say
DJs.
it.
That's all I remember.
I don't remember, man. I talk a lot. Half of it is blah blah blah. Who knows?
Well, we're gonna go ahead and get our next guest to jump in. I just pinged them. What is your hot take for tonight, Luxury Elite?
Oh gosh. Okay, so this is gonna be a really saucy one. I'm sorry, folks,
Saucy
but-
one. Oh my.
Yeah. I mean, I've kind of divulged a little bit with it, but like, I'm just gonna flat out say it. Hi, Keith.
There's
We're
Keith.
saucy. Hi,
Oh, is
homie.
Keith next?
Keith is next. Hey, buddy.
Oh my god.
How you doing,
So glad
buddy?
you made it, man.
I gotta talk to Keith mostly about like movie recommendations
God.
at some point. I gotta exchange movie recs with Keith soon.
Yeah.
True. You don't have to get on
So-
camera,
oh.
man. You look beautiful, but go ahead and jump back off of camera if you don't
must
mind.
disable the camera. It looks so
sorry.
funky.
No, you're fine. No apology necessary. It just messed up
I love
the
it.
screen
It's
captures.
so good.
I love that. I
You
love
do
the
look
claw
lovely, my
coming through.
friend.
You do.
Oh my god.
We
So,
can't handle. We can only do this.
Yeah,
to
we
photos.
can't handle too
Go
much
ahead.
of Keith's beauty.
LOL.
Oh,
Well,
damn.
my
Anyway,
hot
your
take
hot take.
does have something to do with imagery.
Oh shit.
Oh my.
So
Oh my.
I've never been into what is typically the vaporwave aesthetic. I don't really understand it. Like, I don't identify with the vaporwave aesthetic of like, I guess it was popularized by
statues,
Macintosh Plus. With Floral Shop, and a lot of people after that had also started like incorporating like in their what is vaporwave like timepieces of like trying to like basically hop on the what is vaporwave train. Everybody started incorporating steampunk
Is this purple and blue
was a-
gradient vaporwave?
Yes. Is this like random dolphin image vaporwave? Is this random 3D art with this statue in the corner? Is that vaporwave? I'm just not into it. I've never been into it, and I never identified with that at all. I don't
True.
know. I personally think that my hot take is that I really wish everybody would have just stuck with screenshots in the beginning. But I
Right.
mean, I
low
also once
res
again sound like a
screen
purist.
grabs.
What?
But I
Yeah,
just think
I
that
mean-
it did. I don't know. It just a lot of folks had seen those earlier pieces where they mentioned C-Punk and had seen the artwork that was incorrectly being hashtagged as vaporwave too early on in like Tumblr and thought, oh, is this what vaporwave is supposed to look like? Let's do this. And I'm like, no, this is not what this is supposed to look like.
Keith, what say you to that hot take, sir? Good one, huh?
First of all, Lux, hello. Nice to hear your voice. I'm gonna try not to call you by your actual name.
No editing for this episode. Great.
Yeah, it'll drive Isaac crazy to have to edit this episode.
Good man.
It's okay. No worries.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, I think vaporwave is mostly like a visual art movement. I'd say, almost more than music.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Interesting.
And as somebody who's involved in both aspects of it, I would think you would know.
Yeah, you have an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
but
have said in the past, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'll just say real quick, I have said in the past that my work is actually like pieces, like musical pieces to the screenshots that I found through just going through a whole bunch of commercial blocks. Like I used to actually say, this song is set to this screenshot. So yeah, it is pretty visually driven, and I feel
Very
like
cool.
a lot of people's first impression is the visual, the album art. So you're
Very well
spot on
said.
with that, really.
yeah, your stuff is more like, it is more like commercial, like kind of like the corporate slick '80s vibe. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'll take that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well
I
said.
like that. Thank you.
I mean, I'm not. It's not like well said. It's just like looking at
It's
it.
just a fact.
Keith is like, I just felt like I made the most eloquent sentence ever.
Right. Nice observation. I'll take it. I will say the visual aspect of your work is very like I think they call it fourth world, just like completely divorced from reality, and it shows in both the sound and obviously the visual aspect of it. So, especially in
Keith?
I'm talking about Keith.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
yeah, fourth world. That's like. Have you heard John Hassel before?
Yes.
No, because I'm a Philistine.
Is that the start of the fourth world term? I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah, I guess people think my stuff is more drawn from like this surrealism, I guess, or.
Yeah, I would use that word to describe your music. Absolutely, especially the visual accompaniment.
The visuals, yeah. Kind of almost like a playful Magritte-ish sort of, I don't even know. But it's, you know what else I like about that is like it is paranormal, but there's also like humor going on in the artwork as well. Like you can, like, Keith is a very funny person, and you can actually, like, you can feel that sense of humor and irony too that's happening in the work and the music too.
I agree.
Yeah, that's fair. I think, I remember, well, Lux was talking about kind of the, like, that era of, did you mention like Matrix medals and
Yeah.
It's old classics.
I was also way into that stuff, but I feel like I was also aware of a lot of more like monochromatic ambient music from that time and like really intense kind of
like Dolphins into the Future kind of thing?
No, like more like dire, like serious noise. I don't
oh, okay. I was gonna
I don't
say
know. Basically,
that doesn't surprise me at all.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is that a lot of my stuff was almost like a little bit a pushback against the like seriousness of noise music at the time. I think,
I can see that.
Like I just wish that more like playful music was still taken seriously by people in the same way that some of that like stark ambient stuff was. So. I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought.
Well, why don't you wish Lux a good night? Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Lux. Love
I
you.
wish we could talk longer.
I love you very much.
I know.
Thank you for being with us tonight.
Friends. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Feel better.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
I put my video on now?
Can you put your video on now? Man, honestly, I can't say no to you. Go ahead.
We're trying not to break.
You're not having people's face in there.
What it does is it moves our cameras, but I don't care. Go ahead. It's hard to not like see your smile.
I don't want people to see my face all the time.
Oh, okay. Well, they're missing out. But if you insist. Hey, there, y'all can see him just barely off center there. For some reason, it doesn't affect my feed, but Chris gets bumped off to the side.
That's all right. I'm not.
Other way. Hey, there he is. Man, I sure wish that Tech could have joined us tonight, but at least we got a third of the Shroudies.
Oh yeah, I mean, Tech is here in spirit.
He is indeed. I want to say they're doing they're doing an LA show, but yeah, Keith, I'm so glad you made it tonight.
There's a lot going on in the DDS world. I guess
the new single I don't think drops in America yet, does it? It's tomorrow.
Oh, you guys are blowing the fuck up right now. Seriously.
The single comes out like, I think at midnight Eastern time.
Yeah, we've got a guy in Rosewood that's in Australia, and he's already like talking about how great it is and the music video. He's making us all jealous.
Yeah, Australia, parts of Asia.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
We're just trying to finish a lot of artwork and mainly artwork. It's like last minute scrambling to finish stuff, basically.
I think I saw a little bit of a teaser of it, but I don't know if it's officially dropped in the US. So yeah, some people I guess got like some VPNs so that they could hear it. Man, you've got some diehard fans.
So inspiring, honestly. Just the musical output from all of you guys. So inspiring. The way that you have nurtured your fan base and like grown and grown and grown and just continued to do things like on your own terms with your own types of sounds. You know, we're all used to a lot of the more palatable vaporwave artists or future funk artists becoming very, very successful. But very rarely do we see the ones quite as experimental and interested in playing with ideas the way that Keith does with his music, and Keith does with the Death Dynamic Shroud music too. With all those guys, kind of getting that sort of popularity. Same thing with Fire Tools too. Recently.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what you said about dubstep. Like, you never would have thought so many pretty girls would be listening to robot having sex noises. Death Dynamic Shroud is ridiculously popular. Robot frogs. DDS is ridiculously popular while being quite experimental.
Yeah.
Wait,
I've seen that more often.
You're saying Chris said that quote.
Chris did say that.
I said
did you say that too?
I was like, did I say that?
Everybody greet our next Equip just jumped in. Everybody say hi to Equip.
What's up, yo?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's up, man? What's up, Kip?
You wanna let it rip with your hot take for tonight, Keith, sir?
Oh shoot. I guess I didn't really. I thought I would just ride off someone else.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I got a question for you in lieu of that. Do you think, as an experimental musician and artist, do you think there's such thing as objectively bad art?
I think the only objectively bad music, I'll say,
music
is like a weaponized bass tone.
Oh, like a brown note
that can like explode human bodies.
Ooh, that's way worse than the brown note.
That's a dangerous one. Hey, I have a question, Keith. What do you think vaporwave is?
I kind of said it before. I feel like it's more unified by the visual stuff, like a visual movement.
I see.
But I don't fucking know.
Right?
And like,
I just work here.
In my opinion, it's not the artist. The burden's not on the artist to define themselves. It's on the people criticizing it and commenting on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What if you don't like what they're saying? What if their idea of the world that you built is completely wrong?
Then you socially bully them on Twitter.
You go on Twitter and just complain endlessly.
LMAO.
Guys complain constantly.
Oh, dude,
that's
literally jump in their DMs
and Twitter, talking constantly.
Chris, I think I could just think about it and we could probably talk for a long time about it. But it's I guess it's a hard question to answer quickly. I guess for me.
We'll have a conversation another time. I'd love to.
Hot Takes 2.0 win.
Actually, I gotta talk to Keith just about movies at some point though too.
Oh yeah, that after call was fun that one night.
With Keith.
Should just do a mix and match episode where you get two guests on.
You know what? Hey, can I just shout out Kevin is the person who came up with this idea. Thank you for your help.
Man.
I screenshotted your message to me and sent it to everybody.
Nice. You figured it out. It looks like
you figured it out, and I want to know. I want to tag off of what Chris said and ask you, since you have taken vaporwave in an entirely different direction. Your name has already been mentioned this episode thus far. What is vaporwave to you?
It's a state of mind that exists in the collective subconscious of anybody who has experienced any media of any kind.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a good one.
That's very true.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you draw a lot from various influences: video games, shoegaze. I remember a live stream event where you played a bunch of old 80s R&B and just danced on the camera. I don't know if I'm sure you remember that. I was just wow. It's not all 16-bit JRPG stuff coming from this guy. He has his finger on the pulse of everything.
Yep. I likes a lot of stuff.
I respect that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, everybody makes vaporwave differently, and everybody kind of interprets it differently, and everybody takes different influences.
That's the best part about it.
It's just kind of the echoes of the media you've digested in your life, kind of getting regurgitated in a...
echoes of the media you've digested. Interesting.
Oh my god.
second. I can think of a hot take.
All right, give us that hot take.
Oh, deep. What's the hot take,
Jumping off of what Kevin said, basically, I think that Daft Punk is a vaporwave group.
Wow. Okay. I could see.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought Boards of Canada was a vaporwave group.
Very
so
proto vaporwave for sure.
Yeah. Terry Ridley did some vaporwave in the '60s when he's stretching out the tapes and putting them in different tape machines, running them at different speeds. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Playing your tape slow. I'm sure you guys did that, or played the record at a different RPM when you were a kid. Either sped it up or slowed it down. I mean, we've been doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking to everybody just makes me want to go. As soon as I get off this, I gotta go make music again.
No shit, right? Hey, that's good, man. Iron sharpens iron. Keith, good night, man. Thank you so much for jumping on the broadcast
love
tonight.
you very much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I
so
gotta
glad
talk
you
to you
came.
about movies later.
Absolutely, no problem. Thank you
Have a lovely night,
doing
brother.
this. See you later.
Congrats on all the success.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Keith.
See you, Kevin.
Right.
Later.
So, Kevin, how you doing tonight? Good?
I'm doing pretty good. How about y'all?
Now, Kevin's another person who has been forging his own path through the vaporwave world and becoming quite successful at it. So, some people were saying that they're not sure how far this can go. They're not sure if they can be, if there's an end to this, if it's dying. But you're someone who continues to move forward and been very successful in kind of creating their own path. Do you think that's possible for other newer artists to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think the mistake is like saying that you're a vaporwave artist and that like that's your be all end all. You know, like for me, I never set out to make vaporwave. I like vaporwave and I like the sounds that are in the genre, and I just wanted to make my own music that incorporated vaporwave as one of the elements, you know, along with nostalgic JRPG video game music and dream pop and
a media that you digested.
It's just an ingredient, you know, like nobody eats just one thing. Nobody cooks just one thing. You know, I think it's inherently limiting to say that like this it can only go so far, because you can always add new ingredients and you can always make a new dish
recipe.
Yeah, exactly.
Good point, man. Well, I have a quick question for you, if it's all right. Is there any particular sound that because you're very multifaceted. I mean, just like I said, you've done the JRPG thing, you've done Slush Wave, you've done all kinds of the bullet heaven thing is I mean, you're all over the place. Are there any particular sounds that you kind of gravitate to, instruments or sounds that you like more than other sounds?
Yeah, I mean, the plasticky fake orchestral sounds of you know SNES games has just been burned into my brain. You know, kind of. I see Molotov mentioned it in the chat there. The MIDI harmonica or the
I know exactly what sound you're referring to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like a even like the melodica even. It's just that kind of
very Super Mario World-esque.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's a monophonic solo instrument with a lot of pitch bends, and that's mostly what I get off on.
Well, you do it well, man. I mean, I think I already had mentioned in the Equips picks server today that SC88 is criminally underrated. People.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, everybody loves Cursebreaker because it's amazing. Everybody loves Dreamed of a. Is it Palace in the Sky? I think I Dreamed of a Palace in the Sky.
You got it.
But people forget about Synthetic Korg 88, and it needs some more love. That's my personal favorite.
I'm glad people like that one.
It's a great album. I got a question for you, Equip. Now, I think one of the things that you've kind of been able to do very well is translate what you do to a live presentation. You know what I mean? Like you have the staging for it. You have your outfit. You know what you're going to play live. You know what you're going to play with.
Really slays in a live setting.
Yeah. Now, was that a challenge for you to figure out what you want to do, how you were going to present everything?
Yeah, I mean, every show is a challenge because I want to do something that feels right to me and will also engage the audience. So, I mean, I think about every show on like a show-by-show basis and who I'm playing with and the room I'm going to be playing in, so on and so forth, and I want to present something appropriate for those settings. So, I mean, I do think about each and every show individually, and lately, you know, I've been doing more of a kind of a DJ style set and doing like trance and high BPM.
You did a set maybe 3 weeks ago where you were just going crazy. There were some stills that were very like hackers-esque looking.
Nice.
I try to bring a lot of energy to a live show.
I hope you saw it, Chris. This guy was going crazy.
I gotta watch it now. I
was like,
I have
Jesus
to
God,
see
where
it.
did this energy come from? Ronnie
Love
just
it.
jumped in. What's up, Ronnie?
Hey. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you, man.
Oh, thank you for being here, buddy.
Well,
Appreciate
Kevin,
it.
do you want to lay on a quick hot take for the fans and for Ronnie to respond to?
Yeah, you know, I thought about this all day long. I was like, oh shit, it's today.
Oh my God.
Man. The hot take. And my hot take is that what you should be doing right now, if you don't already have one, is you need to invest in a nice chair with lumbar support.
Damn.
Because you're probably
Let me hit all the air horns right now.
in like a shitty Office Max $50 office chair. I want you to take that chair out to the alley and throw it away tomorrow. And I want you to go spend.
I want you to stick your head out and yell.
Oh yeah, I've got a
I
really
want you to
bad
make
chair.
that as good of an investment as you would make your bed, because everybody sits in computer chairs for such a long period of their lives, and you're
The chat
fucking
is
your back
blowing
up.
up. Cancel this,
Right.
man.
Support.
Oh my God, Ronnie, what say you to that spicy take?
Should I get a steel case? Is that okay?
Yeah, the steel case gesture. That's a great chair. The Herman Miller Aeron, and like
Oh my
they don't
God,
have to
they're
be expensive.
name-dropping chairs.
You can look on Craigslist and find like a startup that, you know, bought like a bunch of steel case gestures or Aerons, and you can get them for as low as, you know, $200, even lower. I've seen people like on Reddit find them in alleyways before. They don't have to be. It doesn't have to break your wallet, but you should invest a good amount of money on a nice office chair. Save your back. You know, you only have
No
one
gamer
back.
chairs for the hot takes horde.
Don't get a fucking gamer chair.
People spend big money on mattresses. You're there a third of your life. If you're gonna work 40 hours a week from a chair and then kick it in the chair afterwards, baby, you gotta have a nice chair.
Yes, sir.
You gotta have a nice chair, baby. All right.
100%.
Well, that was very good advice.
It sounds like we have a sonorous, resounding agreement on that.
It's important to know that
you could
Quip
stand.
cares about you. He cares about you and your body.
Definitely one of
Once
the
you're-
kindest people in the vapor sphere right there.
It's
All
never too
right.
late.
What about
You're healthy.
standing, Kevin and Ronnie? Would y'all recommend just ditching the chair and or maybe one of those little bouncy balls, like?
So I would not recommend going straight from sitting to a standing desk. I would get one that goes up and down, get an adjustable one, because you will develop another set of problems if you go just like straight up, you know, like do a 180 and are standing for your entire workday.
Oh
I
man,
can
well
speak
said.
from experience here.
The ball
Slow
comes
it.
highly recommended. People say you change your life sitting on an ab ball.
Okay, all right.
I don't know.
Yeah. You could
Wow.
cycle that in. I would say that's good to like cycle in with standing and sitting in a nice chair with lumbar support.
Damn.
This is all this is
I'm-
good
I'm-
information. I hope everyone's taking notes right now.
Ronnie,
I wonder. Oh, go ahead.
I have a question for you, buddy. We did not get to talk very much about your career as a DJ when you were on
Oh, yes.
Hot
Oh.
Takes.
By the way, right now, guys, Ronnie from Vapor Space, St.
Vapor
Louis is
Space,
here
St.
right now.
Louis. Go
The
play St.
famed
Louis.
Promoter,
Come play
Ronnie
St.
from Vapor
Louis.
Space.
Go
Come play
/
St.
come.
Louis.
Thankfully, I will be much closer to
Well,
St. Louis here pretty soon, so
I-
I'm definitely going.
Yeah, but let's talk about you were asking about the DJ.
Yeah, I wanna know-
Continue with that thought.
There's been a couple times that Ronnie busted out his setup and went live, and he did not do it enough. I want to know if you're the kind of guy who will readily give out track IDs if people ask.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's not a secret. Can't be a secret. If you want to know,
Some
what I'm
DJs
playing-
won't do it. A lot of DJs won't do it.
That's ridiculous.
So some DJs aren't working with 35-year-olds, not 35. Let's be honest. Aren't working with 20-year-old source material, and it's my pleasure to share this music and like if I'm playing something old, I'm glad it's getting played on loudspeakers again.
You were a house music DJ, and a lot of that like trancey, housey stuff is really coming back full throttle.
It's still good after
is.
all, still tasty after all these years, still fresh. Mwah.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm going to go take a quick bathroom break. If you can hold down the fort real quick, Chris. But I just wanted to say goodnight to Kevin. Thank you so much for being here tonight, man.
Yeah, Kevin, thank you. Love you, buddy.
I want the Cursed Equip to come to St. Louis. It looks like Cursed Equip is not taking the stage as much lately. Now the DJ Equip has taken over the Cursed Equip form. But
you can do both, right?
we want to have it all in St. Louis.
The outfit is trashed. I mean, it's been wadded up in the back of my closet for 2 years, and the rivets are falling off, and it was never meant to last past the photo shoot. So,
You have a new iteration.
Yeah, it'll have to take some overhauling, but
what you brought to the stage was special, and I can't wait to have it in St. Louis.
Thank you, Ronnie. I hope to
Thank
be
you
there someday.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin.
Good night,
right,
Kevin.
so-
I will be right back, fellas.
You need to use the bathroom. So, Ron, it's a pleasure to talk to you again, my friend. How are you holding up?
I'm one of those people who has no reason to complain other than the fact that I can't do what I got into vaporwave to do, which was to make live shows happen on the ground. Specifically, make it happen in St. Louis. Make St. Louis a destination where everybody would be coming here by now. That was supposed to be happening.
I think that you have done that people very much know what you've done. And, when the time is right again, it will be right again. But I don't think anything has actually been erased at all. I think it's just, it's not the worst thing in the world. People get very upset about, COVID and live events shutting down. But at the end of the day, it's never the worst thing for there to be a small interim period where people just long for it. You know what I mean? Like, rather than get exhausted of it, a small break like this isn't the end of the world. But how are you feeling about the breaks, about not being able to do this as much?
Well, there's a lot to unpack with that one question. The thing is, I see a lot of there's still stuff happening. Like, there's still lots of stuff happening in St. Louis. There's still lots of stuff happening, I think, in every city, even in the cities that are more locked down, in states that are more locked down. There's still a scene of people who have decided, for whatever reason, that it's worth it to them to keep going out and to keep being out. And they're not exactly impressed by the responsible stances that people have been taking, because they want to party and they're gonna party, and if you're not providing that party for them, it's like you're falling out of mind. So I'm sometimes a little concerned about losing ground, because it's not like, as much as I don't agree with it, it's not like shows have stopped. They continue to rage on every weekend. Some get called super spreader events. Some get called out for, requiring vaccine cards. Some get called out for not requiring vaccine cards. You can't win.
It's a toughie.
Don't require vaccine cards in St. Louis. Some places don't.
It's the Midwest, brother.
It's a tough area that you're operating in sometimes with that culture.
There are communities that are absolutely not allowing themselves to. They are ungovernable, and they party. And some of it includes an aspect of the 20-something EDM scene in St. Louis. There are other people who are really trying hard to be responsible with the events that they're showing, because they know people want to be there. And so they're creating all these responsible and expensive, I think, ways to make their scenes, their parties be safer. While at the same time, it not guaranteeing anyone any safety. And sometimes it's hard. And they catch flack from the local scene for, the exclusivity, or they catch flack from the local scene for creating an unsafe space. So
what's it going to take for you to feel like it's safe for you to do something?
That's a really good question. I've had to cancel my last 2 parties, and I don't want to plan another one to cancel it. I really don't.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's sad to see that happen.
I'm not starting plans. I'm not starting plans until I feel. I don't know what it's going to take. It's going to take something that's completely different than what I've seen the last 2 years.
Well, we could have a worldwide .wave 2.0.
Well, I mean,
not the same, but
if if it gets to the point where, where the variants stop coming up as frequently as they are, and the outbreaks stop happening, and maybe if it gets to the point where sometimes people do contract a version of the variant, but it's not life-threatening,
like an endemic
would
type
that
situation.
Be something that you would consider coming back again?
I feel like whenever I throw a party again, I need to be able to throw that party and not have to check everyone's pandemic status. I don't want that. I don't even want to check people's IDs. It's like I don't want to have anybody have to show me papers to be legitimate in our vaporwave party. I don't want that to happen. So I'm waiting for it to recede all the way to that point, and it will get there. And I don't know if it's going to take 1 year or 2 years or 5 years, but one day we're not going to have to go around and ask everybody where you are with your vaccination status, or at least it won't be something that'll be my responsibility. It'll be something bigger.
Yeah, when we do terminally chill, we have to do that. And we have to be very specific with who comes in and who is not allowed in. And it is difficult. And yeah, you're right. Like every time I used to do it, I'd be like, well, we'll have to cancel. I'm just waiting to have to cancel the next one. But it's not as difficult for me because it's not as much my responsibility as yours to do all this checking. We have staff that does that. You know what I mean? We have people that log in and yada, yada, yada. Like that. I understand that when you're doing your events, this is all on you.
I want everybody who is able to throw a party successfully and safely to do it, because I think that there are so many artists out there that desperately need to be performing in order for their careers to function correctly. And the fact that in St. Louis, it's too marginal for us to be able to add on the extra expense at the door. And, it's like, I really don't want to fight with anybody about anything at the door. Like, I don't want to fight with you about. I don't want to fight with you about what you think about the vaccine or what you think about masks. It's like I just want. That's not why I'm here. And when we were doing it, it didn't have anything to do with that. It was just about getting this awesome music out for people to listen to. So it's more like, for me, for what I hope that there are vaporwave shows in St. Louis that get thrown by people other than me between now and the time that I can get over, my personal setbacks.
Yes.
Hello, Sound Market.
Hey guys.
I had to manually move you into the group, buddy.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
About it.
I think Sound Market should throw it without me.
Maybe I will.
Sound Market is an incredibly intelligent individual that I would love to have helping me throw a party.
Dude, I'm blushing.
Do you want to hit us with a super hot rager of a take, Ronnie, so we can see what Paul thinks about that?
Bring it on, Ron. Give me your highest take.
I absolutely believe that, as I said a little earlier, that everything about this pandemic is going to be in the rear view mirror for all of us sitting here now. And when it's in the rear view mirror and we are all ready to get back out into the live space, and I'm going to talk about the live space because that's what I care about. When we all get into that live space, Vaporwave needs more DJs. We literally need more people who are going to play an hour-long set that features in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 different artists that people can hear. That you're not just playing, this is a retrospective of my career. You're instead hearing this is Vaporwave.
We need like actual Vaporwave parties as like a format. I agree. More people doing like format, not just like someone coming on and that's great, doing like a performance, but yeah, actual DJs that aren't even necessarily artists, but just can DJ vaporwave and can throw a DJ for. That's one of the hardest things sometimes to convey to vaporwave people is the idea of a dance party. Like they don't understand it. Sometimes I think, is this like a show? I'm like, well, it's not exactly a show. This is a dance party. It's like a 4-hour-long party. You could stop in, stop out. You don't have to watch the DJ play the whole time and like clap for them every time they do anything. Like it's about you, the audience. Like you have your party, you meet your friends, have your drinks, dance, yada yada yada, and then you'll hear a bunch of artists from the scene.
Yeah, what do you have to say to that, Paul?
No, I think that's exactly right. I've done some shows where I've played just my stuff. Some shows where I've played vaporwave, hits, the top 40 of vaporwave.
Right. Me too. Like, and I make a distinction, and I'll make a distinction between like this is the dance party or this is like a skeleton lipstick performance. Like I'll make a distinction. Yeah, Anyway, go ahead.
It's almost like the difference between a set and a show. That's like the easiest way to put it.
Sure.
And we've worked with people who get that and people who don't. So it's always interesting to, have to try to group people in that sort of way or understand who's going to bring what kind of vibe to an event if you do invite people who don't get that concept,
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So, I think it's great to introduce people to that concept because honestly, sometimes like for like Terminally Chill, which is like I always specifically tell people this is a vaporwave dance party and like we have people come in and DJ. They're not only going to do their music, they're going to do a lot of stuff. It's going to keep like a general vibe throughout the night to the point where like you can walk into the party for like 20 minutes, then go outside, and then come back like an hour later.
Man.
Like you can do all, But
like a free.
You're right. I think it's like hard to introduce some people to that concept. But Terminally Chill, that's like the first dance party some people have even ever been to. So,
yeah.
I'm sure for you guys it's the same thing. Sometimes when you're doing like just the straight dance party stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely. And some of these events, people go to these events and that someone is having the night of their life.
Oh, hell yeah! I love it. We love to hear it.
I love it.
Ronnie, buddy,
you guys must love that.
I gotta bid you adieu, Ronnie. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Love you very much, buddy.
Have fun,
Ron.
you sexy bitches.
Oh
Pizza.
man, can't wait to get a big old bear hug from Ronnie once this is all behind us.
My guy. That's my guy right there.
Oh, absolutely. So, Soundmarket, you've been doing a lot of these shows with Ron for a long time. Do you feel like you learned a lot about, the ins and outs of like doing shows and doing parties and such?
Yeah, I went to school for like audio technology.
Oh, I can tell.
Stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's no surprise.
So I appreciate that. And I learned a lot about the management side from Ron.
Interesting.
Ron he's so good at talking to people.
Oh, yeah.
He is so good at managing people's time and all that stuff. So I think being able to see that happen, in person has been a great opportunity for me to grow in that side of my ability to put on any sort of, good event.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely a duo, like, to end all duos right there. Chris, I don't know how you do it by yourself, man. I really don't.
Oh, I don't do it by myself completely. The thing about me is that I have a club that I'm a resident at, basically.
Okay, that's
so
true.
I am in charge of promotion. I'm in charge of talking to people, but the venue is there, and I don't have to do anything for it, really.
Fair.
So that makes it easy. The sound system is there. I know the sound system is always really good there.
Right.
The lighting is there. I know I have someone there who's going to do lighting for the whole event and all that stuff. And plus, I have the Virtua 94 guys who are going to come and set up that show
those
station
are a great group of guys.
with the video games and the video games and video art and like just like having those guys doing that too. I don't have to do all the stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
And that's how it should be. I mean, we need
you
to
guys
have
it a
those
lot
structures.
harder than I. You guys have it a lot harder.
I mean,
than
going
I
out
do,
and
I
playing
feel like.
Virtual Memory, Pacific Plaza. I mean, he has a tight core of people, and he'll be on the show later on. And they run a pretty well-oiled machine too. So
yeah, I mean, for my thing, like I went out and I eventually networked myself into getting a club.
I remember watching that unfold in real time.
I have a question, Soundmarket. I have a question. How do you guys get the venues that you get?
Ron, he knows a lot of people. He's super good at networking, and he has experience in the scene, like you talked about earlier. So he knows a few places that are owned by. And like the first place we ever did anything was a cafe that was owned by one of his friends.
Oh hell yeah! I remember that story.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a
and then
great story.
Things just snowballed from there, and we just got to have more connections with certain people, and that's also a very interesting thing to have been able to experience.
I really hope that can be rekindled, man.
So then let me ask.
Oh yeah,
you,
it will
Soundmarket.
be. I'm not even worried about it.
Good.
So do you see vaporwave as like a community, basically, or like what is vaporwave like for you?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I was gonna say, you guys were talking about the teams you have behind you as well. Vaporspace is like a venture by me and Ron, but there are some great people in the St. Louis like vapor community that just rock. Like Sam Sachs.
Oh, dude,
Oh,
TWA
yeah.
is
World
the
Airlines.
shit.
That's my boy.
That guy's
right
got
there,
some good
dude.
cakes. Well, he's got some hot ones. He's got some rippers.
He's got some very hot ones. I'll
some
give
hot
him
ones.
that. Yeah, but it's a great community. You know, I was in the first time I ever heard any vaporwave was Blank Banshee Zero, and I heard that like very shortly after it came out. So I spent a lot of my time with vaporwave just on the internet.
Yes.
And then once everything with St. Louis started happening, you know, it grew into this physical scene that was so different than just, you know, experiencing it all through the internet. It's crazy.
Well,
So
Paul,
I feel like I've seen
we're
both sides of it.
we are calling in our next guest. Do you want to let us know what
Oh,
your
let's go.
ripper for tonight is going to be?
All right, this one actually might be like an incredible ripper.
Oh shit!
So I think that 2814, you know, Birth of a New Day, that is regaled as this like beautiful work in Slushwave, but I've never heard anyone say anything positive about any of the songs besides the first one, and I think it's because it has that like great little piano hook in it, but. No, that's the first little track.
The first and second
there.
one are both usually pretty well lauded, that's for sure.
But I think it's just because that little hook is so memorable. And I
True.
think a lot of Slushwave has that problem where it's super good, but it just doesn't have that like kick
Staying
or punch
power.
or hook to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why, I mean,
Damn.
I think that's why Birth of a New Day is so influential, because of that little piano part that just draws you in.
This man's hot take was 2814 kind of mid.
A lot of people
Honestly, our next guest, who is still muted, you can unmute yourself, Will. Will Wade, honestly, will probably
Will's
agree
here.
with you. But I don't want to cut you short. Do you want to rip on any others?
I could spit
Sort
all
of
day.
agree with that.
Will is one of my favorite people to talk to about music that's not vaporwave related.
Will's got just fascinating perspectives on all kinds of different music and music and on music in general, in my opinion.
I agree. I
great.
re-listened to F sharp A sharp Infinity the other night when I was extremely inebriated, and it really made me wish that I was doing that with Will Wade.
Will, yeah, but hold on. What were we talking about?
We were talking about Birth of a New Day, which I actually like, but I was a little late to the game.
I
no,
like
it's
it.
fine.
It's
I've
good.
I've actually never heard it still yet.
Oh, wow.
To tell you the truth.
I mean,
Oh, wow.
And I definitely
LOL.
like a bunch of things by Telepath and by HKE, and I've actually never listened to that album, but
wow.
it's one of those things where I'm like, I'll listen to it eventually.
it's a more
Now
radio-friendly
so-
Telepath.
No, I mean, now that it's so well known, it's like I didn't listen to it when it first came out, and then a year later I didn't listen to it, and now we're like several years out, and I'm like, well, now everybody's
It's like
heard
Twin
it, and they talk
Peaks,
about
it's
it.
okay.
They talk about it all the time, so I don't know if I want to listen to it right now. Maybe in a few more years, but I'm sure it's a good album, and I like the other work by the artists involved in it, so one day. But anyway, interesting take, my friend. I like that a lot.
So that's a good one. Will, what do you think about it? What do you think about what Paul had to say?
Birth of a New Day being bad.
Not necessarily.
I don't think that he said it was bad. Soundmark did not say it was bad. I think he said that it was it's well lauded because of the first two songs. Apparently, once again, I don't know. I'm not. heard it, but
Well,
that's
yeah,
the
like
statement.
all of those albums are. I feel like all of those kinds of albums are because, like, I feel like Birth of a New Day. Like back, my first vaporwave foray was like tapes and the vaporwave cassette club and stuff.
Absolutely.
And like, you know, because I came from collecting records, so like getting rare stuff was cool or something like that. So like,
Oh yes,
you'd like.
I know that
I
well.
feel like the collector, like there was a lot of collectors, and you know, you just like throw on an album, and like that's kind of an album where first two songs, like, and then you'd kind of tune out or something. So you know,
Oh, boy.
like
Oh,
like,
man.
and
Somebody's not a DJ.
there's quite a few albums, but I know I don't think I think that album's solid. I think that album's really solid all the
There
way
you go.
through.
All
I
right.
mean, you're a
You know, like
well, hold on. I
listen-
want to. Okay.
Will,
I don't want to spend the whole time talking about this album because we have such little time.
True.
It's a good album, I'm sure. I'm going to listen to it eventually. I bet I'll like it a lot, actually. But I want to actually get back to one thing that Will said when he was on the show, which was the idea of you should go back and listen to the older artists, whether that be 2814 or any other artist that's an older artist, and listen to it to yourself, because you may get something out of it that other people haven't. Because he made this argument about like why we need to go back and listen to classic things from like the classic artists that start a genre, like from like new wave to anything else.
True.
Because you may interpret something from it that somebody else hasn't, and that's why we go back to these classic albums.
I mean, at the end of the day, Will is very much a listen to the entire album type of person. Fucks with concept albums. So I think it's really unique that Paul happened to mention that. Who, by the way, thank you for joining us, Sound Market.
Yes.
You are the shit.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that ripper of a take, and I cannot wait to talk to you again.
For sure. See you guys.
Good night, buddy.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So, that was a really interesting idea. Do you think that these artists that maybe start certain movements or that are from like a long time ago, do you think that there's more, that sometimes they have more to say than the artists that are inspired by them like decades later?
No, definitely not. More to say? No. I think different opinions are different things to say. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
well said.
As fans of things, like it's such a fan thing. Like musicians, especially vaporwave musicians, are fans of music and fans of things, whether it be movies or whatever. There's like sort of this, you gotta like the OG thing. The OG it is better in the old days. Like
I hate that.
Born in the Wrong Generation crap.
Yeah.
And I've never really like fucked with that, because I think that like it's just different. It's gonna be different. Like hearing John.
Yeah, it's not better or worse. It's just different.
Yeah, vaporwave like dying and stuff. Like yeah, but like that's like that kind of vaporwave is dead. Like whatever kind of music you're making right now, or whatever genre of music is popping right now, is gonna die, and the next thing is gonna come out of that.
True.
Like
true.
And like punk, like you always keep going back to, Dr. Chris, like punk is,
I do always go back,
is like has gone over so many changes over so many years that like, and you can still call it all punk,
True.
So I think that everyone's always gonna have something different to say, even if you're directly ripping something off. Like it's gonna be different.
Well, you and Nathan have like a great approach. You guys sample source material that nobody samples. Fucking 90s R&B, the what's her name? Samira Saeed. You guys constantly take it in a completely off the wall left field direction. So I think your perspective is well earned.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I just like listening to different kinds of music, and I like. I loved when I have to tell a real quick story of when I first started listening to vaporwave. I deadass thought I was really into Cat's Corp, and I was messaging Jornt all the time on Facebook, and I thought that he like MIDI, like made all that shit with MIDI. Like I didn't even know he
was saying that one time.
Yeah, and so I like hit him up and I was like, "What? How do you make this?" Like, and he's like, "Oh, like samples," and I'm like, "Damn, it just changed my whole world." So like. I kind of forgot where I was going with that, but what were we talking about before that?
Well, we were talking about sampling.
I had a similar. I mean, I had that. I think a lot of us had that similar experience when we listened to Washed Out for the first time, and then realized that
like
that was a sample.
Yeah, like
all around was a sample.
Like it's just at the time that shit was stuff that I hadn't heard before, and then over time that Cat's Corp stuff like would be like the only shit I would hear.
Right.
And so I was like, like I want to hear new stuff. I want to be like introduced to new stuff. And I loved the like blurred lines between what is sampled and what is added in.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah, some of the best late chill wave like Dreams West and stuff would do that all the time.
Yeah, like people ask me sometimes, like if I like made something or if I did something in that, like there's like a beat that'll come in a song, like And like usually like all iClick shit is like 100% sampled.
Right.
But now we're starting to move more towards adding stuff in.
Well, you play in live bands like Cucks, Gallstones. I mean, you even have your own
Yeah.
solo work. Like, you're very well versed in actual instrumentation.
Yeah, I love playing music. Just like the way I make music, it has to be live most of the time. Like even when I sample
That's why you guys
stuff,
play
like,
live so often.
yeah, like I feel like I don't have enough knowledge technically and any music theory knowledge to like craft something meticulously. I'd
Even with
rather
the sample
like,
stuff. So you play your samples like you're like playing the samples like an instrument when you make your music.
yeah, that's what I like to do. I like to start at the beginning and then like just kind of move through the song, you know, like
Interesting.
and
Like
then
a
like
DJ.
this is the next part. Yeah, and then sometimes the song will even just be playing and I'll be like chopping stuff kind of blindly and moving it.
Wow,
into
that's
it.
interesting.
So, like, I can hear what that sounds like. Or
Very
sometimes I'll just
interesting
make
approach.
a random chop without ever listening to it and put it in and see like what that weird shit will sound like.
Looks like Golden Living Room sneaked in. What's going on, Golden Living Room? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you great. How are you?
All right, that was an accident. I clicked on it. I was like, oh shit.
No, you're good. You're invited. You're the only person I haven't had to ping.
Joel is the next guest. Yes.
Joel is the next guest. So Will, do you wanna
yes,
give us your hottest take of the night, hotter than everybody else's?
Ah, damn. Like I've been trying really hard to think of a hot take.
I feel so bad. I told
like,
everybody
all
have
day.
a hot take ready.
My hottest take, I probably won't piss anyone off or anything or be hotter than anyone else's, but I just think that Bandcamp needs to do a way better job of like making itself like a respectable streaming service.
More searchable for sure.
Like I want to be able to send like a Bandcamp link to a normie and they don't go like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, no
And
shit,
they-
right?
Yeah.
Just give it to
like,
me on
why-
Spotify.
Like SoundCloud
Yeah.
sucks so much shit, right? I hate
Yes.
SoundCloud like with
I
a
don't use it
fervent
anymore.
passion, and still, like everyone knows SoundCloud. Like, why isn't fucking Bandcamp on it? Bandcamp, I should be able to look through my artists. I should be able to look through the albums. I should be able to make a playlist if I want to. I barely make playlists, but I should be able to do that. Like, you know, there should be like radios and playlists they make.
Yeah, like Genius
There's
playlists.
so many people uploading shit to Bandcamp because it's free.
Mhm.
Like, why don't they take advantage of that? Like, you know, like.
And it's
You
like,
heard it here. Be better.
They like almost like aggressively don't do that. I swear
True.
to God, it's so annoying.
well, it's also like you have an album. My parent, like my family will always be like, "Oh, I heard you're releasing music. Can we listen to your music?" And I like shoot out a Bandcamp link, and it's like a buzzkill almost. I feel like, I don't know. That's just how I kind of perceive it. Whenever I'm trying to share it with somebody who's not kind of like savvy on how to release music on the internet or something, you know what I mean?
Well said.
They're like, is it on the YouTube? It's like, no, I have it on Bandcamp. Well, what's a Bandcamp? Okay, so
Right.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, like Bandcamp. It's just. It could
Mid.
be so. Like, you have to pay to get your shit onto like Spotify and all these shits, who literally like steal your money and don't give you anything. And
Woohoo,
like,
you got 73 cents from Bandcamp.
Right.
yeah, like the Bandcamp, at least you get actual money from it. Like they could still do the like listen to it 5 times or whatever, and then you have to pay
Yeah.
thing.
Time to open my
But
wallet.
just restructure it to like, you know, like no ads, no bullshit. Like that's
Yeah.
Ching, another $1.
Bandcamp is for the proletariat. You know?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, yes, sir, you are correct. It is. We have the means of production. We just need to make them better.
Yeah, true. They always do y'all ever
Sounds
get
like
the
Joel
emails like
agrees.
Bandcamp, like we're hiring this person, you know, like Bandcamp's
Good.
always like hire, and they always like send out like a little email. I don't know if anyone else gets that, but I always like click on it. I don't have any experience and I can't relocate to wherever the fuck they're at. But like, I'm like, I want to work there because I'd be like, yo, like, what are we doing here? Like,
Right.
You're gonna roll up your sleeves and be like, "All right, guys, get your shit together."
No shit.
Yeah,
well, Joel.
I thought of a really,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Will, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I thought of a really quick hot take.
Yeah, let's hear
where
it.
you were talking about Birth of a New Day earlier, and it's that Surfing Deep fantasy album is terrible.
Damn!
Oh, no.
Ouch!
Wow.
Ouch! Talk about a crossover album. All right, let's kiss Will Wade goodbye. That was so hot.
Love you, Will.
We're gonna.
That was a good
I love
hot
you
take
too,
to
Will.
leave on, my friend. Wow.
Love you.
Will, you're the best, but you're crazy.
You too, buddy.
Have a good
You're
night.
crazy, but I love you.
Yeah, I need to know what you think about.
I'm
I saw your
I'm
replies in the
with that
text
one.
about Birth of a New Day, Joel. Apparently, you're a little bit of a fan.
Yeah, I am.
I liked it too. I mean,
I listen. I love both.
Chris
love
is tired
work
of
from
hearing
both the
about it.
artists involved in it. I just haven't listened to the album. I just never listened to it yet. That's the only reason I'm like, I don't know. I don't have much to say.
I've had it from the get go, and
Yeah,
I've
I know it's
been
good.
listening to it a long time. But the thing is I got the CD, like the very first
oh yeah, they
release
made a
of
CD of it.
the physical release that came out, and I got the CD, and I've been using that. For any of you who have kids, trust me, this is.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
true.
You put that shit on in the car, those kids will go to sleep. They will, and it works like a
Wow.
charm to the point. Like my wife is like, "Do you got the magic CD?" Is what she calls
The
it. It's
magic,
the
CD. Oh my god. Does your spouse
will-
like vaporwave? Or does she have any thoughts
no.
on it at all?
No, not at all.
She doesn't
She-
like it. Oh
she
my
Does
god.
she like
No,
it? Does she like your music though?
She likes my attention focused on the family.
I see.
Let's just say she doesn't dislike my music, but she would rather my attention be focused on the kids. Let's put it that way.
I'm sure
I mean, that's-
that she still loves that you're passionate about this stuff.
Sure, and she encouraged. See that
Sure,
she's
it's
a
like
silent.
raising-
Yeah, she's like a silent support system where she will continuously support me, but she's not gonna be like, "Oh, I love your music," but she's just gonna constantly be there as like a foundation
She's a
for
real
me
one.
whenever I need. Like, I need to buy, a new synthesizer, and she'll give me hell about it, and then let me get it. So,
Aw.
Nice. You still got it.
yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious, dude.
Phenomenal. Hey, I have a question, Joel. What's vaporwave to you?
Man, I'm gonna steal. I'm gonna bounce off of what Kevin was saying. How it's a feeling.
Interesting.
It's a feeling.
It is. Your music is very like world building as well.
music
When
is
you
very
went
much a
into
feeling.
great
Your music
detail
is very much a
about the
feeling.
golden living room and that feeling of bygone
Yeah.
days and the sun hitting at just the right angle.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I loved your description of where the name came from on the episode you're on. Also, it's really funny because, like, Golden Living Room music is world building, but it's like the building of a feeling. Like it's like a world of feelings. It's very interesting. It's not exactly tangible most of the time.
Right, and it's not organized most of the time. And when I do organize it, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it definitely sort of like a soundtrack to the subconscious, to my subconscious mind or something, and like whatever kind of like flows out in I don't know, sort of like self-hypnotizing when you're making it or when I'm making it.
Do you have like a
with the
favorite? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you have like
You're
a
good.
favorite
Go ahead.
like movie or like video or like something that you would like consider your music to be kind of like a soundtrack to?
I'm like big into Carlos Castaneda. That's something
gonna need
I
to
really
look
like
him up.
Philip K. Dick as well.
Oh, hell
but,
yeah.
but like
Hell yeah.
the author Carlos Castaneda who wrote about like sorcery and shit, and like really interested into that kind of stuff. And there a couple of my albums, actually many of my albums, the titles of the songs
Carlos
are
Castaneda, isn't he the guy who did the teachings of Don
Don
Juan,
Juan.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
uh-huh.
that's like his big. He goes to Mexico and he finds like the sort of
The shaman.
the sagacious teacher who wanders. Yeah, he's an interesting character.
Chris,
he really.
Chris, do you mind turning yourself up just a little bit on your end? Are you able to
Oh.
do that?
I am
Sorry, I
able
don't
to
mean
do
to
that.
like halt
No, you're good.
the vibe, but like you're I've got you all the way up down here, and you're still kind of quiet.
How about that? Is that better?
That is a lot better. Thanks, buddy. Sorry.
Sure, yeah, but yeah, Carlos Castaneda, I could totally see that influence in your music. Yeah, I it took me a moment to place them, but yeah, I'm very familiar with that book at least.
Especially like imagine like the this music that's playing when you wake up from a dream in your head. It's not, you can't focus on it, but it's there.
Right.
That's kind of like another thing that I try to reach that I don't
Literal
exactly do
hypnagogia.
intentionally. Yeah. It kind of just like, it's there and it's like portraying the feeling at the moment.
I
It's
love
like,
those feelings. They can be unsettling, but they're also very beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like whatever sort of like sound effects that are going on in the background, sometimes I'll do like bubbles or like pops or plops or these kind of like, it's almost like a second of like being aware, and then it like drops back into like the background kind of.
Oh wow, very intricate. Kind of reminds me of like micro glitch music.
Yeah, it was like the latest album I made with Bathroom Plants was sort of like the farthest from my original style that I've done, but somehow still ends up sounding like my other music. I don't know how that works.
Oh, wow.
Man,
Totally
people were going
created in a
crazy about that
different
album
way.
in the chat during your episode. Some very, very big
Oh,
fans
it's a
of
great
that.
album.
Oh, I'm glad, man. I was afraid that album. I put everything that I had into that album, and man, I know my music is popular from like Welcome Home and New Nostalgia and stuff like that, but if people want an accurate representation of like where my music is, like, well, was in 2020, that's pretty much it. That was pretty much quarantine music.
Damn.
And going from having like no time at all to having like so much time, like, you know, working being gone from home like 13 hours a day to all of a sudden being home like all day long.
Yeah.
So
For
having
better
a
or
lot
for
more
worse,
time.
it was a weird time.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we're waiting on the next guest to jump in. I just sent him a DM, but why don't you let your hot take for the night rip?
I think Birth of a New. Oh no, I'm sorry.
Oh my God! Somebody
I
clip
think
that.
Echo Jam, Chuck Person's Echo Jams is like not that good. I think it's overrated.
Wow, we got some hot ones tonight.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
I'm not just trying to like, and I'm not just trying to like piggyback off of like what's really popular.
we've all been
or,
doing,
like,
yeah,
Birth of a New Day. But I was thinking about that earlier because, okay, yes, it was super influential, and in my opinion, it stemmed, you know, Internet Club and Vectroid, or you know, the Vectroid Echo Jams.
Yeah. Early Ramona work.
And yeah, exactly. And then lots
Wow.
of us.
Yeah.
And so, but when I go and listen to those Echo Jams myself, they just don't quite hit the spot like Laserdisc Vision.
They are a little hard to listen to, but man, B7 with the fucking Woman in Chains Echo Jam is just a tearjerker, man. Everybody say hi to Alex. We got Mesh in the house.
We got Mesh here. What's up, Alex?
Oh
I was
man,
gonna-
hope his audio's working.
I see his icon. Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, he's gone.
he left, and he'll probably jump. What's up,
and
buddy?
He's back.
I'm not getting any audio.
Mesh, always the
That
technical issues with our
sucks.
buddy Alex.
Yeah, hey, you know what to do.
Oh wait, something's happening here.
Oh, he just
He's-
muted himself. Or what do they call it? Deafened. Anything? I don't think I have him muted.
the little gear.
Damn.
Click on user settings.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, I know you know how to troubleshoot. Maybe reboot your Discord. Oh, that sucks.
Are you?
I don't want to sit here and cut you off though, Joel. You were going on.
Oh, yeah, but you know, at the same time, like I was telling you guys on the last podcast, like I came to vaporwave a lot differently than a lot of people did.
Yes.
True.
Like you guys had, you know, you were talking about Neon Indian and some other and then OPN, like,
yeah,
I don't know what Chuck. I know Chuck Person's Echo Jams came out in 2010, right?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
So like, what about those other? I don't know the complete timeline. But like, I wasn't exposed to, actually, I didn't even listen to Echo Jams until after I had heard, you know, Macintosh Plus and
Oh wow.
and Laser.
You came into it a little on the later side, huh?
Yeah, I did. So maybe it was because I was already used to the Ramona like flavor of Echo Jam that like I feel like she sort of like hits the sweet spot for me, at least. Like, you know, every track can be. That's why so many people like resample something, because you can echo jam like so many different things. Like I took the I Only Have Eyes for You, you know, cause I only have eyes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I took that and like reworked the original. I can't even think of the name of the track now because it's like.
I know which one you're talking about. Christ
the original
did a
one,
rework
the
of
one
that
that.
too.
Yeah. You're talking about the song from Replica right now?
No, I'm talking about the one that it's on Macintosh Plus. I can't remember.
Oh, that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought we were
On Floral Shop, I mean.
Oh, yes. I thought we were talking about OPN again for some reason.
No, but that like that echo jam in particular. But like I had gone and like reworked other parts of the song and like found my own echo jam like within that song, but didn't use that I've Only Have Eyes for You just because I felt like that was like a sacred sample that I couldn't touch. And then Tuwa came to Wichita.
Oh, Tuwa. Tuwa is supposed to be here in the chat right now.
Was such
Where's
a
that?
OG
Where's that
until,
guy?
like, I saw him
Tuwa's
the Mr. Nonsense Symposium.
Tuwa's a way OG. That guy
I guess I didn't realize
the homie. Love him, by the way. That guy's the homie.
That guy is
Wichita with his then girlfriend. And
oh really?
Oh no shit.
Like dropping through, and we like played a gig. It was like in 2014. We played a gig at like my local coffee house. There was like no one there. And
oh, that's so fun! You played a gig. You and Tuwa played a gig together.
Yeah, it's actually I put it up on SoundCloud. Like
no
Will
way.
Wade was saying, no one gives a fuck about
I gotta go
SoundCloud.
back and listen to that. That's so fun.
I'll have to put the link out there, but it's what I was getting at was I sampled that I Only Have Eyes for You track, and I put like my echo jam part of it, but then like at the perfect time I put in the Macintosh Plus Floral Shop.
Nice. No way.
I've Only Got Eyes for You part. And it was like
I gotta hear this.
The one time I've timed a sample like perfectly. Like most of the time I suck.
Such a good feeling.
Terrible at using the 404. I'm so bad.
Honestly, dude, it's the same on DJ decks. Like hitting it at just the right time is so hard. Like I know they have beat grids and stuff for a reason and quantize, but like Jesus God, it's hard.
I would need like DJ lessons. I wouldn't know what to do at all. Like just watching you guys do your thing. Like I don't know. I can create some weird dreamy environments about the subconscious, but when it comes to like throwing a party, you know what I mean? Getting people hyped and like reading the room.
I mean, I only learned to DJ so I could do the vaporwave party. Like I never intended to be a DJ. I was gonna just, I'm a producer first and foremost. I consider myself a producer / artist first, but I wanted to bring people together. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought you'd been doing it for a while because you were so like confident when you were doing it.
I wanted to bring people together. You know, like church, but
way. Devotional.
Well, just like, church is a place where people gather together that don't see each other all the time, and then they like hang out and say hi and yada yada yada, and you see people you don't always see all the time, and I thought it'd be a nice way to unify people through art and music and dancing and having fun.
True.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, I am having the hardest time getting Alex's audio.
What's going on with Mesh?
I don't know, man. He says he's in here, but I don't know. I'm not getting any audio from him. That really sucks.
I worked with Mesh a couple of different
I purposely had you guys overlap, not just because you're... Actually, I thought Mesh was in Central Time. I didn't realize he was in Eastern Time. Poor guy. I hope he didn't stay up super late just for this to not work.
What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
I think he might reboot his rig. Maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna have the next guest jump in here in a couple minutes.
The next guest on for now, and then we'll have Mesh reboot the rig and just make sure it's not anything on our end.
Yeah.
The next guest in over that, and we'll have Mesh come in.
I don't want to bump everybody back, but if he wants to hang out, maybe we'll have him overlap with our next guest.
Whenever Mesh can get his stuff together, we'll bring him in as the next guest.
Let's do that. So we're gonna keep you
around.
around
Want to talk to our dear friend Alex?
Yeah. We're gonna keep you around for just a couple more minutes, Joel, so that everything is just kind of still on the schedule.
For sure.
I can't remember which guest it was. I think it was either Christ or it was Tech, and then somebody asked them what their favorite YouTube video is. What is your favorite YouTube video?
I'll tell you what YouTube video I hate.
Oh shit!
No.
Okay. Even better.
Okay, here we go. I hate. Ooh, this might be a good hot take. Why the fuck do YouTubers scream into the microphone all the time.
Oh,
man.
gosh, I don't know. I hate
And
that.
you know what? It's rubbing off on the kids at school that watch, whatever, maybe Minecraft YouTube or whatever.
Oh,
and
you know
I
about
have a
that.
couple of boys in each class of my 5th graders that will do this high-pitched screech just to be fucking annoying. And I'm just... and I know that they're getting that shit subconsciously from those YouTubers that scream into their microphone. As I'm like gradually getting closer to my microphone and getting more and more angry and screaming into my microphone. No, but you know what I'm saying?
Right. Honestly, man,
Anyway.
I'm super out of the loop when it comes to a lot of the YouTube content, but I also appreciate when somebody can send me something that's particularly humorous. I feel like Christ is particularly good at that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, he's very good at that.
But like, the only reason why I'm somewhat aware of what's happening is because my boys are like watch YouTubers like Dream and Preston Plays and some of these other Minecraft YouTubers, and some of them are they just talk so much and play. And my son, like, he'll like mimic that, and like,
oh man,
he'll be playing Minecraft and like trying to tell me and talking. And we'll be like, can we tell YouTube Sam to like step aside for a second? We want to talk to Sam, and now we don't want to talk to YouTuber Sam, because he starts getting into that like YouTube. He's like mimicking the YouTubers. So I think that's what's happening with a lot of the kids. That they're like emulating some of those things. Some of them might be really good. They're learning like multimedia skills, but they're also learning like dumb ways of holding people's attention, like screaming into the microphone.
Dumb ways of holding people's attention.
Other ways.
Interesting.
Sorry.
No, it's a
We
good
got
point.
Angel.
We got Angel.
Angel just joined us. Rest in peace.
What's up, Angel?
That's what you think.
I've been proven correct. You wanna comment on the allegation that Chuck Person's Echo Jams is potentially overrated?
Yeah, I'll comment on that. I think it's pretty sick.
Definitely has its place.
Overrated. I don't know. No, I think it's really good. Yeah, I don't think so. Well, no, it depends on what people are really saying about it. Like, what would be an overrated rating?
True. I guess it depends on where you were in your journey when you heard it.
That's what it is. It's because it was because it was after the fact. It was
Fair.
because I had found, the Echo Jams that hit me harder than I guess it would have hit me had I heard it in 2010. It probably would have. I probably have the same view of it as you guys do. But
I don't remember when I first heard it, but it was pretty early on. It was probably within the first year, maybe 2. But at the time, I was mostly listening to like noise music and like sound collage, really weird experimental stuff.
Right.
And I was also just really into like the whole C-punk thing at the same time.
Shout
so
out
coming from this like sound collage, abstract, experimental zone, and like the whole C-punk thing and the aesthetic, bringing Farside Virtual into my life, that it was like perfect because it was like kind of both. Like it wasn't really noise, but it was like just lots of like sound effects like popping out of nowhere. It really hit the spot. It was exactly what I needed at the time, I would say.
In the chat, we were talking about James Ferraro just now. Apparently, he just put out an album on Christmas. But
oh no way.
We were talking about. I was talking about how like in some of those albums, he didn't like quantize what he was doing. Like Farside Virtual is one of those. And sometimes I think that works really well because it like shows the humanness of the music, even though it's like he was trying to go for a like kind of the opposite of that. It seems like the concept was, but then you have something like, oh shit, what's the one that they were just talking about in the chat, but the one where nobody got their tapes and it came out in 2016. It was a big controversy.
Isn't that like pretty much all of the things he releases? I mean,
yeah, he's got a little bit of reputation.
He's very well known for being like a mail order jackass. There's many people.
The hot
many
ones.
people haven't gotten their stuff from him. Like he's accused of being a scam artist on the regular. I've never ordered anything from him, so I don't know.
Yeah, I got my tape. What was that one? It's the Amazon sign. It's got the Amazon guy smiling.
Literally a vaporwave tape.
Oh, Human Story something.
Human Story, yeah.
Yeah, I
But no,
love that
hasn't
album.
been the only time when he was doing like super lo-fi stuff.
Yeah.
Like that kind of shit was happening, and people that he has worked with on music was doing that kind of stuff too. It wasn't at all uncommon in the like underground like tape scene or whatever. There were so
That's
many
some
like
DIY
rip-off
shit.
labels.
Right.
That's a shame.
I don't know if we'll ever really know the truth of like what really happened with all that stuff. Like I don't know if it was like intentional, whether he just got lazy, whether he like ran into money trouble and just avoided his problems, or whether it was like all planned. I don't know.
In some ways, I would say that Beer on the
that's
Rug
some
was
tea
one of
right
those
there.
rip-off labels that kind of was inspired by the lo-fi sort of scene,
Chris,
and then they
I did
just
not
got.
expect this episode to be so spicy.
Yeah, well, that's what I think. And you know what? It was because of
love
Macintosh
it.
Plus and Laserdisc Visions that
Shout
Beer
out
on the
Ramona.
Rug blew up. Now, a ton of that other music on Beer on the Rug is really great, but I'm
Yeah.
also biased because I'm friends with those guys, and you know they sort of like raised me as a musician.
Fair.
So, but at the same time, they were just trying to do what was kind of cool. I remember Josh from there.
Stupid.
That's stupid.
Right.
I love it, Angel. I love it.
I didn't realize it was gonna be this spicy. I'm sorry.
You know what? It's
Oh
okay.
no,
And
you jumped right into the soup apparently.
Joel,
Yeah.
we're gonna go ahead and let you go for the night.
DIY
right, we're
rip-off
gonna let Joel
labels.
go.
I can get really fired up about scammy rip-off labels. I mean, I've just been
that's
burned
good.
so many times. I just have zero tolerance.
Happened with Beer on the Rug
And
too.
so much of the time, though, it's like people get really excited about releasing something, and it's like the ideas and the plans that give them the high, and then when it comes to actually fulfilling responsibilities, they'll just kind of like avoid them or just like disappear and just like
you
stop
didn't know what
answering
your hot
emails
take
and
was
just
gonna
pretend
be.
it didn't happen.
That's a tough thing
110%
sometimes
correct.
with that's a tough thing sometimes with certain artists is that, you know, I think a lot of artists get very excited about the idea of being a part of something, of doing something, and then when it comes to the
starting
execution,
a label.
yes,
My
for sure.
Restream has had 3 or 4 releases come out, but not really come out on labels.
I mean, you have
before.
a lot. You probably have more experience with labels than
True.
anybody else with Mindspring. You know, you've been on dozens, I think, of labels at this point. So yeah, you would have a very interesting perspective on
Yeah,
this.
I don't work with any label that isn't established, put out a bunch of releases, and has a good rapport anymore. I have new labels come to me fairly regularly and be like, I'm starting a label and we would love to have you on it. And I'm just kind of like, you got to prove yourself. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be like a jerk, but like, I got to see that you're willing to actually mail stuff to people like within a month or 2 even before I'll mess with you.
Everybody say goodnight to Joel. Thanks
Bye,
for
Joel.
thanks for coming in for the
We
long
love you,
haul.
buddy.
Good
Thank
night,
you
man.
guys for having me. Yeah, and yeah, God bless.
Much
Take care.
love. Mwah.
Love you, buddy. I'll talk to you
Love you
soon.
too. Bye.
You are
Bye-bye.
100% correct, Angel. I personally am not a collector of physical media, but I've heard the horror stories.
Me neither.
I can't imagine.
Really?
I want to stop for 1 second. Are we going to try and get Mesh back on?
Yes,
Maybe
I
can
told
we like have, he's
Mesh.
going to reset his
Actually,
rig?
he's
Have
sending
him
me-
reset his rig.
He's sending me DMs right now.
We're not getting any sound right now. But we Well, anyway, we're gonna keep working on getting Mesh on because we love Alex and we want to get Alex on here if we can.
Yes,
but
we
anyway,
do.
Yeah, I don't know what
Yes,
I
we
need to
do.
do to get his audio to work, other than like stopping the stream.
Was it not even
I-
coming through, or was it all like busted up?
He says when he jumps in, it just immediately mutes.
What the hell?
Yeah,
That's the weirdest
we'll
problem.
figure. I am very bad with this troubleshooting type stuff, so
It is.
y'all are the audio
Anyway,
like engineer people.
I definitely want to talk to Angel a little bit more. First of all, that fanny pack is amazing, and I love it so much. Thank you for sending it to me.
You're welcome.
I didn't even know that when I opened it up, there was gonna have like a picture of you right in the center.
I
was
know,
like, that was
isn't
such
that
a-
funny?
It's so fun. It was such a fun surprise. I love how vibrant it is. It's great. I
feel
wore
a
it to the
little
last
funny
festival I
about
was
that,
at.
but the label I work with, those guys are so fun and funny, and they
Yeah.
just thought it would be funny if when everybody opened up, my face was right there.
I didn't know that was going to happen.
Are you serious? Oh, I've got to see this.
It's great. So, we were just talking about a very interesting subject, which was that, you have worked with a lot of different labels.
Yeah.
And what do you find is like when you work with a label, like what is the most important thing that you think that people should be doing who run the label?
Oh, I have a really hard time like picking like favorites or like number one things or whatever, because there's so many different things.
What's an important thing then? Just not a most important, just a important thing.
Well, I think because I've gotten burned so many times by labels that aren't like committed to like actually shipping stuff. It's like nobody really understands what it's like to get a bunch of orders and have to pack packages and then print labels and then go to the post office and do that on a regular basis. And when people learn what kind of responsibility that is, a lot of them just don't make it. And I ran a label for a couple of years, and I was like making tapes and stuff like that, and I hated that, and I slacked on that shit after a while, and I stopped doing the label because I was just so tired of dealing with mail order. So
my god,
so you just have to be like good with that. Like, I don't care if people don't get their stuff for like a couple weeks. It's understandable. We all have full-time jobs, and we're either dubbing the tapes in our basement or we're just like doing everything ourselves. We don't have some big operation going, so it's okay to like be a little lax. But I just you need to be able to deal with the mail order, because everything else is just fun. The art is fun, and the Bandcamp's fun, and the Twitter is fun, and all that kind of stuff. But it's actually hard work. So
I don't know how
really
John does it. I don't know how John does it. I mean, with
who's
business
John?
casual.
What John?
Oh, Isabelli, Christ, business casual.
No, that sounds. Yeah, it's like, we look at these labels and the stuff that they release and the artwork and their aesthetic and their personality and stuff, and we just don't realize that like half of what they are doing, maybe even more than half, is just like kind of grueling shit.
Yeah, no way. Like a lot of busy work, to be honest.
Yeah, a ton of it.
You know a little bit about fulfilling things and busy work, and your job, with your mastering and the production that you do for so many other people. Like you know what it's like to have a discipline to get something done on time and to do it right, and it's grueling, I imagine, to have to do it as much as you do.
Here's the thing, though. I love doing what I do. There's not as much grueling work, and I'm really privileged and blessed to be doing what I'm doing. I would say that making up invoices is like really annoying, but that's like only a small bit of what I do. Especially like, I mean, the invoices, those are the things that bring in the cash. That's what someone sends their money to. But like complicated projects can be. Making up the invoices can be kind of annoying, but that's really the only thing I have to complain about. Maybe like all the emails, there's a lot of emails going back and forth all day. I probably spend a good third of my day in the inbox, actually.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
But like all of the tasks involved with doing the work, all of the knob twisting and the listening and all that, like it's just like pure heaven for me. So running a label is
really inspiring to hear you. Really
way
inspiring
worse.
to hear you say that. Wow.
Yo, we've got
sitting here
Lunitas in the
packing
chat.
packages.
Everybody say hi to Lunitas. You can go ahead and unmute yourself, buddy.
Hi, I'm here.
Hello. Angel, I don't mean to change the subject like abruptly, but you had something that you said earlier. You want to run that hot take back for us real quick?
Oh shit, what did I say? I don't remember.
You know what? I've been intently listening. That let's see. You said, what did you say? I've been trying to concentrate on getting Mesh to be able to jump in.
How spicy I was being. Oh, I was talking shit on James Ferrara, I think.
Oh
right?
Shit! You were talking about unfulfilled orders. People needing to be able to.
Oh yeah, unfulfilled orders. Yeah. I was talking about that.
Lunitas.
So what? So you need me to repeat that so we can see what Lunitas has to say about it.
There you go.
Right, but aren't you? I mean, are you releasing music, or are you just still sticking to art? You're not fulfilling people's orders or anything, right? Like
correct.
shipping merchandise.
Why don't we
Correct.
talk about art for a
Have
second?
you had a lot
actually?
of experience with ordering things from DIY labels and like never getting it or anything like that? Does that happen to you?
Only once with a label that, of course, I'm not gonna name, but
Oh man, we're naming labels
A
over
respectable man.
aside from
Respectable
that,
person. Thank you for that.
from all the other labels I've ordered, I've happily received my packages.
So the one that you didn't receive your stuff from, were they a label that was known to be like sketchy with people's money and their orders and stuff like that? Or do you think it was just like a freak thing that happened, like an accident?
No, it was actually an order. I mean, a label that was known for it being sketchy, and I took a chance because I thought, why not? The link is
Right.
there. I can just do it.
Yeah.
And, my package never came, and I contacted the label, and nothing
Yeah.
happened.
Ouch. Well, I mean, you got to take risks sometimes, right? At the end of
Right.
the day, I mean, you're an artist. I'm not excusing the behavior. Let's don't get it twisted, y'all.
No, I know.
I'm just saying. I mean, you got to
I just
give
don't mess
everybody a
with
chance.
physical media, so
Yeah, that's the inherent
yeah. I have
peril.
I have some tape shelves of tapes specifically so I can look at the spines because they decorate my house. Otherwise, I don't even bother anymore. I'm just a
I don't blame you.
MP3 kind of person.
Well, Angel,
yeah, I think the thing about tapes and oh, go ahead. I'm
no,
sorry.
I was just gonna say I can relate on a spiritual level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that we always say about the physical media is that it's a functional art piece, right? So,
Indeed.
I mean, you buy it for that, right? You buy it for this like interesting, connection between you and the artist, I guess. Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I listen to it all. I listen to it on my computer or on my phone
There you
or
go.
with headphones or my monitors or in my car or whatever. But I don't. I really do love the whole thing with like popping a tape in a cassette deck or putting the record down and putting the needle on it and hitting play. I do love that whole thing, but it's like in trying to simplify my life and like have less objects and have to take care of less stuff and all that, it just feels really, really good to like not worry about physical media anymore. It's like this whole dimension of my life I've let go of, and it just feels so freeing, and I'm not missing anything that I really need. I still got all the music. I can still listen to everything I love. It's just I can't hold it in my hands anymore, and I'm fine with that.
You've been doing it. I mean, you're a little bit older, like I am, so you've been doing it for a long time too. And some people, this is like their first time ever really collecting anything like this.
Yeah, and I think that collecting I think it's great, and I know it's really exciting and fun for people, and I don't have anything bad to say about it. I'm not trying to say it's like materialistic or anything like that. I'm just like over it.
It's for that's for you personally. Yeah.
I actually do buy records to put on my wall. I have a wall of records of art I really like.
Angel, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you being a part of this broadcast.
Yeah.
I talk to you in DMs all the time, and I just love getting your unique perspective and geeking out with stuff with you. I'm gonna have to sign you off. But
Screw
thank
you, man. Just kidding. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you
It's
so
been
much
great
for
to be here.
participating.
We want to get everybody back on for a full episode again because this is just everyone has such fascinating
All
things
at
to
the same
say, and I
time.
love all you guys.
Love you, Angel.
Yeah, all at the same time again.
have a good night, my friend.
Matt
Yeah,
said he
you
had a
too.
really spicy
Hi,
hot
Angel.
take for you too, Angel.
Hi.
I'm sorry we can't get it. But
Yeah,
maybe
Lunitas,
eventually.
what are your thoughts on physical media? Are you much of a collector?
I am. I very much collect vinyl and tapes, but I definitely incline more towards the vinyl category. And with tapes, I only just get stuff that I'm either supporting my friends with, or it's something that I really, really like, and I want to hear it on tape.
Like the exclusive cut.
Yeah, you know it.
I mean, considering they do cost more, I don't blame you at all on that.
I mean, the only thing I buy on tape is vaporwave albums, really. And it's just to support people and to engage in the art they create. But I don't really buy. I buy vinyl for a lot of different things, but for cassette, I mostly only buy vaporwave.
Fair.
I think I'm the same way as well.
I mean, it's reasonably priced, and you actually probably know the person on a first name basis that made it. So either the visual artist or the musician behind it, or maybe both.
Let me ask you, Lunitas, what is vaporwave to you?
Kevin totally nailed the description, in my
Did he not?
opinion.
He did, didn't he?
It's that, it's because I feel like the media just doesn't matter anymore. Just whatever's media you consume and you get the sense of nostalgia from it, that counts.
I would certainly agree that nostalgia is a pillar of it.
I always find it interesting when there's a nostalgia that I don't even have, but when I listen to the music or if I engage in the art along with the music, then I almost am implanted with that memory that person had.
Like you feel that longing in your heart.
Yeah, and it's not even mine. You know what I mean? It's somebody else's. That's an interesting thing to me when people can accomplish that. Boards of Canada always did that for me, honestly. I was like, am I
There's a
watching
lot of
70s,
Telepath
like
that does that for
the
me.
70s, like Canada? Yeah, Telepath does that too, for sure.
Is there any particular artist, Lunitas, that you could think of that just makes that like longing feeling inside of you?
Dude, you totally named it. It's Telepath.
Man,
yeah.
There's some tracks in their like 2014 era that they're just tear jerkers, and they're literally like a J-pop song slowed down.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they are doing, but like my heart is responding to it.
Telepath's great too, because I also love like the instrumentation he does. He has a lot of instrumental tracks too. You know what I mean? That isn't just the sample. That's interesting to me. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, Lutas. I cut you off.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna say, the really old, slushy, early Telepath stuff is what I incline towards the most.
Yes,
and
me too.
That's like the anchor for me. Like I just can't go. Sorry, I'm just digressing, but
no,
digress all you like. You know what show you're on.
That's exactly what I was. That's the kind of content.
You know what
that
show
I
you're on
crave.
right now.
Matter of fact, actually, Lunitas, we're bringing on our next guest already.
Go for it.
Uniwa is going to be joining us in a second. So what do you have? What do you have to say? What is your hot take for Uniwa to respond to tonight?
Well, I hope Uniwa is familiar with dream punk, because I think that all dream punk is vaporwave, but not all vaporwave is dream punk. And
I believe you said something similar to this on your episode.
I'll take that. All dream punk is
agree.
vaporwave, but not all vaporwave is dream punk. Okay.
And I think the reason people separate it is because of it's because mostly they're led by edgelords, and as far as my experience in the scene, dream punk stems directly from vaporwave.
It's definitely like its own kind of foray, and kind of like people will like breed different offshoots of various plants. It's definitely one aspect of vaporwave, like taken to the nth degree. That's for certain.
It needs more appreciators, in my opinion.
I agree.
You're not wrong.
I agree.
It's.
I agree.
The overlap is hard to find, but it is there. Uniwa, what's up, dude? You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Oh, where is that man?
Yo.
How's it going, buddy?
Yo, what's up, buddy?
Nothing much, man.
Hey, we're super excited to have you in here today, man. Sorry that it's so late right now where you are.
It's all good.
Poor dude staying up later than anybody else.
I do it for the love of it.
Oh, that means so much, man. That's love right there.
I love you guys.
Lunitas just had a really interesting take. Not sure if you heard about dream punk being an offshoot of vaporwave. You wanna repeat what you said just a moment ago, Luis?
Yeah, I think that all dream punk is vaporwave, and not all vaporwave is dream punk. And I think the reason dream punk gets separated a lot is because there's a lot of edgelords in that community, and there's just not a lot of room. There's just not enough appreciators, in my opinion, and all of
They get overshadowed by the edginess.
Correct.
True.
I see. Yeah, Uniwa, do you think like edginess can overshadow good music?
Yeah, I definitely think that can happen. When it comes to dream punk, like, I know a little bit. I'm not that versed in it because I usually stay in the synthwave, disco, house side.
You're pretty multifaceted. I mean, you've got your feet dipped into a lot of different offshoots of the scene.
Yeah, you're right. And I do feel like, in EDM music, I feel like EDM music has that problem, like the umbrella, like dubs, dubstep. Like I feel like it bled into that business, and it kind of ruined that genre. So it's up really up to the people that really care about that shit to really like, create lines as to what's cool for how people can act, you know what I'm saying, in the community, they really want to create a community that's flourishes musically and within the same genre. I think it's always important.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important to have like a supportive community of people that are willing to give each other constructive criticism and hear
And
the
not have to be,
constructive
like,
criticism.
dicks about, yeah, not have to be dicks about it on either
Yeah.
side. Like it's just flow, a free flowing thing. You know,
The
what I'm
sharing
saying?
of
That
ideas.
yes, it's effortless. Should be effortless. It shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No. Like I get in Twitch chats, and I see like when these guys from like these big companies, like music,
Interesting.
listen. They do submissions and they listen to music, and they basically have people submit the music, and they go and listen to it and rate it, and they tell people about it and critique them about it, and really, really understanding and ways that are respectful.
That's
And
the professionals.
oh yeah, and I was in a Twitch server yesterday. It was this guy from Universal, and he was just like listening to everyone.
Yeah.
And then I remember I looked down and I see this one guy. He's like, "Don't be nice to him. Tell him his stuff is
Oh,
bullshit."
man, no.
I'm just like,
What?
Jesus Christ!
What
It's
is
like
wrong?
I was just, and then I said this in chat. I was like, "Dog, if you're gonna like talk to somebody about their art, like, and criticize them about it, you
Wow.
gotta do it in a different way than that."
Yeah, you can't just be like,
and
this
then
shit
I
is-
feel like, and then I feel like it'd be motherfuckers that don't even have anything to show for it themselves. So it's just like, what are you even doing?
Damn.
That's
You
just
know
this
what
is
I'm
just
saying?
how they get validation is by in being in that Twitch chat and saying those things, and it's like sad.
And I was like,
You know?
bro, relax. It's just like
Relax.
everybody gotta have a chance
That's not
to learn.
productive. Guys, can
Yeah.
we give Loonitas a quick send off? Thank you so much for joining us tonight, my friend.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for having
We
me, y'all.
appreciate that you
Love
made
you so
time
much.
to join
Thank
us
you,
tonight.
buddy.
We love you,
Really
and you
appreciate
lie
it.
to us.
Yep, that's
Fuck
likewise. Best podcast ever.
Oh,
Oh,
Luis, you're
you-
too kind. Thank you for not saying screw you.
See y'all.
Love you,
Good
lady.
Angels that screw you.
Oh my god, I'm gonna hear about it in DMs
Kill it
later.
off.
I hate cutting anybody off. I'm
Anyway.
sorry, Uniwa. I
But
cut
anyway.
you off too.
Back to
You're
Uniwa.
fine. You're fine. I noticed Mesh is in here. He's so cool. I like his.
We
Mesh
keep
is
trying to get
extremely
Mesh
cool.
on. It keeps not logging. We can't get him logged in. You know what? Like Isaac, if we can't get Mesh on tonight, we got to bring him back for to do
If-
a little thing.
You gotta do
if
that.
If Mesh
We
isn't doing
love
anything
Alex
during the
very
last
much,
few minutes of
and-
our next episode, we will absolutely bring him in.
Whenever he wants, because or if we can get him on tonight, if he can try again,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
but
I mean, the poor
he
guy's
keeps
staying
trying to
up
log
super
in.
late. I feel bad about
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, Uniwa, back to you for a moment here. Now, you're an artist who has been very focused and very gradually gotten themselves more and more and more success, and you're doing it very well. What has that been a challenge for you, or has it just been like I'm just going sequentially with this?
It's like this. It's like in the day and age we live in, it's always easy to get caught in like the superficial shit, like to get caught in the numbers, to get caught in all like the shit that really don't low key matter. But like when I remember myself about like I'm trying to make people feel things, and I'm also trying to alchemize my own feelings in a healthy way. And
Alchemize.
I know I have my process.
Alchemize. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
stealing that.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'm taking that.
I'm taking that.
And I know I have to process my own emotions through my music, and I know I have to make music, put it out there, and market it the way I do, and in the tone I do it in, because I am who I am, and I come from where I come from, and there is no other Uniwa. So it's like I'm so just in place of being who I am to the fullest extent. Everything melts away, and when I'm really just locked in, I feel locked. Actually, at this point in my career, I feel more locked in and focused than ever before.
Good.
Like,
Wow.
to be honest, like,
You're a beloved member of the scene.
Absolutely. Would you say that being an artist is and doing well as being an artist is like a process of like self-discovery and getting closer and closer to your identity?
It is. I'm like kind of agnostic, but I got into music because my grandmother was a gospel pianist, and my
Oh,
my
sick.
sister was a gospel pianist, and I'd always do church choir and shit. And so like my entire like basis around music started around Christianity and church and my religion and faith.
Interesting.
And,
Sort of.
so from the fact that it grew from that, it's like I've always had a very spiritual connection with music generally, because it's like it's always been able to make me feel some type of way, even as like when I moved away from like gospel and Christianity and shit. And honestly, I'm really kind of excited for Ethereal 11.4 at the end of the month, because it has like some gospel vibes in it. It has wave. It has some like R&B, some like 90s R&B trap that I did.
Hell
You know,
yeah.
like, I'm going back to a lot of older styles. I really feel
We
good.
need some more of that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I felt like it was that time to revisit a lot of the shit I was doing back in the day in a modern way and in a mature way. 'Cause I'm
Good.
25.
Yeah, clean it up, modernize it. Uni, we are about to bring in the next guest. So, what have you got for us tonight? What is the hot take you have prepared for your 15 minutes?
Do I have like columns to choose from? Like, it's
Hey, if you have multiple hot takes, let her rip.
You can do what you want, man.
Okay. Let me try to say the too controversial. Let me not say the too controversial. Okay.
Yeah. That's all right.
There's been a lot of
got
talk
some good
about
ones.
vaporwave. There's been a lot of talk about vaporwave and its growth and the Okay, I got it. I fucking
Let's do it.
No, Weekend album. The Weekend album. Okay,
The Weeknd,
so not the
okay.
most recent one, but I love the most recent one. But,
Okay.
the Weekend album. I was actually talking about this in the Green Room chat.
Okay.
So Volksgeist was talking shit about synth pop. Not being basically being washed up and basically being past his prime and saying
like passe.
You know, synth pop. No, yeah, passe. He basically shot this passe thing, like it's not being reinvented in a modern way by so many different artists, and they're revalidating this whole thing that's existed for this long. Like, rap is just as old, rock is just as old, but you don't treat that shit like that, if not older. It's fucked up. It's a double standard. I don't like that.
Okay,
You
I'll
know
take
what?
that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. People not paying the same respect to these sorts of genres as they do to the monolithic genres.
Exactly.
Very
And it's
fair.
like Volksgeist is a big YouTube page. He does all those breakdowns on Kanye, Kid Cudi, Travis Scott, you know, any of the big artists in rap or in you know, or R&B or pop. And The Weeknd was like has all these nuances of his last major, like 3 major projects. All his nuances are backed behind like 80s and synth like inspired shit. Like,
True.
you can't. I don't even understand I don't understand how he spoke so highly of After Hours, but in the same vein swat synthwave as a genre. That doesn't even make. I don't. How do you?
weird.
I don't understand
That's
how
sus.
he removes one from the other, because you can't. You know.
So that is like
Well
a big
said.
deal. Like, I honestly, that's the thing that people like. They like to knock down smaller genres. They would never talk that way about the bigger genres.
True.
But like, I do feel that the smaller genres get like told to be like, oh, it's burnt out, it's over, it's that. It's as if
Yeah,
what
it's
you
dead.
said before, it can be recontextualized a million different times. All genres can be recontextualized a million different times, and it's like very silly when we decide to start writing off the genres, any genre almost. You know what I mean?
Guys, Groovy Kaiju just jumped in. Everybody say hi to Groovy Kaiju.
Hey, what up?
What's
Yo,
up,
what
Eric?
What up?
Super
My
hyped
boy,
to have
Groovy.
you here, bro.
So excited! I'm glad you put Groovy Kaiju on like around like midnight my time, because like that we needed like
You
I
need
mean,
a little
like, I know
burst
I'm
of energy.
You need a burst of Groovy Kaiju
Yeah.
energy.
Hell
And I need like a Red Bull.
Groovy, what do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, where's your Red Bull, bro? Go get you a Red Bull. What do you think about what Uniwa just had to say, Groovy?
Gotta use the bathroom really quick.
About like synth pop, or which part of it?
About the fact that, to paraphrase, some of the smaller genres just get kind of dipped on when
They
they're
get written off as over. But really, what is ever over?
Yeah, I don't know. People just have their opinions. I've been so I don't want to be that guy, but I've been going a lot into like marketing lately, and it's really trippy to see how you can like kind of like sew yourself into a bad position by saying like not a lot of people listen to that smaller thing.
True.
Because people tend to just follow things that like most people do. So like
Right.
if you speak of it in a way that's like, oh, less people like that thing, then just naturally as humans we're like, okay, then it's bad. But really it's like just because the social proof isn't there doesn't mean it's necessarily not good, and it's just
Right.
a logical fallacy we shortcut in our brains. So I think that
Like lack of
whoever's
popularity
talking-
equals bad. That's not true at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that has those two things are completely divided. It's just a shortcut we use to like determine what's good and what's not. But yeah, so
That's
I agree with
interesting.
Uni. I think smaller genres are dope. I don't think I listen to any genres that are really actually big as of lately. Like, I mean, other than hip hop, but even the hip hop I listen to is like weird. You know?
Yeah, you kind of like the DIY kind of bedroom beat type vibe.
Oh yeah, I always have too. It's the weird part.
Both of y'all kind of come
Oh,
from
yeah.
from like the not, I don't want to say rags to riches per se, but you know, y'all have built your brand over a long time. Both of y'all have.
Yeah. We've been through it.
Glad to
It's
hear
even
that you
funny.
concur. So-
Super random thing, but Uni actually is friends with a hometown friend of mine who also makes beats, or they used to know
Really?
each other. It's a small world on the internet, but yeah.
Bruh.
Wow.
All those bedroom beat makers.
Honestly, man, a lot of vaporwave I feel like was born out of the bedroom beat making. I mean, especially earlier we were talking about lo-fi hip hop. You make lo-fi hip hop.
yeah.
I mean, and a lot of the early like Juicy Tunes and Keats Collective type vaporwave had like an overlap of lo-fi hip hop. It's kind of interesting how they've diverged.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, Uni, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm gonna let you go. I know it's really late
We
where
love
you're
you, buddy.
at.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. We got to
Dude,
talk
such
about
a
it later.
I love
legend.
you.
Uni.
I love
Oh
you
my gosh,
guys,
yeah.
man. I
We
had to
love
do this
you.
shit. Yo,
Big
thank
love
you
for
so
you,
much.
buddy.
Thank you so
Well,
much. We got to get everybody back on again. I swear to
Absolutely.
God.
It's a must at this
Y'all,
point.
y'all have a good time talking. Great see you again, Groovy, Shiro.
Yeah, you as well.
Skeleton. Y'all have a great
Love
night.
you, buddy.
Big love. You.
Hey,
Good
buddy.
night, man.
We'll talk again soon, bud.
Good.
Well, Groovy,
we gotta get everybody.
Absolutely, man. Groovy, I know you are a bastion of positivity in the scene. I feel like I didn't get to get you to say one negative thing. Maybe like one, I don't remember, but maybe just once on the entire episode that we have with you. So I've got a hardball one for you, man. I want to know, when you're listening to music, like whatever genre, what's something that like would completely take you out of a song and just ruin it from the get?
Interesting.
I think maybe like robotic drums. I've been working really hard towards humanizing more music, and then
Gotcha.
maybe that's
Good.
why I kind of have like I mentioned so the bad thing I did say in the last episode is I'm not a big electronic music fan.
I remember.
I think a lot of it is
I was
it's too
remembering that.
perfect. Yeah, and so
I didn't even think it was
grids
bad.
and
It wasn't
such.
like a mean thing at all. It can be too perfect. That it can be an issue. Honestly, when
Yeah.
electronic music doesn't have character, like I think that's the death of it. I mean, I guess there are some people going for that completely, but when you don't have the character, it becomes flat.
Yeah.
A
And
lot
it's
of the
not just
early
electronic. I will say
2000s.
hip hop too, but yeah, anything where like if the music sounds like everything is perfectly made, I don't know. It just for some reason it kind of like makes me feel weird. I'm like, I'm not listening to music. I'm listening to like program. That makes
Fair.
sense.
No, I think that's a
Yeah.
very good point. I completely agree. Actually, that's like the struggle with electronic music, isn't it? Is trying to humanize it, is trying to make sure that you add your character into it, and that you like make the drums slightly off here, or make sure that your cymbals aren't always repeating themselves constantly for several bars, right?
I mean,
to go
I
even
like
into like
beat
stop
grids.
motion.
One of the things about a lot of hip hop is like that skittering offbeat beat, and I just I respect it. Yeah, go do your thing, man. I respect it, but I just it messes up my beat grids, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's one thing that's the interesting thing is trying to find that balance between like making it accessible for DJs, but also making it sound like more humanizable music.
True.
So like it's about finding that balance. What I try to do, at least personally, is use the beat grid as a guide, and I just slightly mess with the beat grid. So even if like there's another song you try to get blended into, the drums are slightly off. Hopefully you wouldn't hear it that much during like the transition.
Fair.
But yeah, it's about finding that mix of like again humanization versus like perfection.
Is
according
it
to the
fair to
computer.
say you're not a huge fan of robotic vocals either?
You referring to the one song you
I did a
played, the
DJ
one song
set.
didn't
I actually
like?
got to, not to make this about me, guys. I got to open for Groovy Kaiju twice in October and November, and I did a set. Groovy Kaiju is one of my most ardent supporters behind this guy, Dr. Chris over here. Groovy constantly reposts and listens to my stuff, and he had. In the last set that I did for the Heatwave event in Phoenix, he was like, "Man, I like every song you put on there except for one." and it was this JD Sinuti track with like Chris, you and Wendy were in my car actually when I played it. It's got like a robotic voice. And Aaron is so kind and sweet and positive,
like
but he will not mince words. He'll be like, "Nah, I didn't like that at all, dog. Everything else was good except for that. I just skip it." It was so funny.
So funny.
I like robotic vocals, just that one song. Like a good example is I love the song Anato, I think. It's by Love Raw and B&B. It's from the Space Dandy soundtrack, and it's like the most beautiful like love song where the context is about like robots falling in love. It's
I love
really
that.
silly and playful that I got from Chris. Playful.
Yes, that's right. That's what I said. That was
yeah.
my best description of the album. Yeah, your album.
That's one of my favorite things about your music, Aaron. It's just
I feel so honored that my adjective stuck. That's my favorite news of the day.
I was gonna say, if I wasn't so distracted by keeping us on this little schedule, I would be writing down all of the shit that I've heard tonight, like the alchemy thing that Uni said, the thing that Kevin said. Man.
God, yeah.
But yeah,
everyone said so many things.
We're about to. Everybody has had something
Damn it.
good to say. We're about to bring in another SoCal homie here in a minute, Aaron. So do you want to let us know what your raging hot take for the night is going to be?
Yeah, so I'm sorry if it's already been said because I've been in the green room most of the time and just getting over here.
It's been a fun time.
That's a lot of fun in there.
Yeah, but I think my hot take is that I'm a little bummed that there's an idea of serious music versus not serious music. Like my example here is that you remember Little Ugly Mane? He had the song Splash.
Love
I
Little
remember
Ugly Mane.
reading a tweet about like some of his mentors being like, "Hey, look, man, you gotta make serious music. You want to be a serious rapper, X, Y, and Z." But music, I think, is all about expressing emotion and making feel something. So why can't that emotion be humor, funny, playfulness? You know what I mean? And why is that looked down upon?
Right.
It's like, things like Moo, like by Doja Cat, I think are heading us in the right way. But
Well,
it's still sad to see that, like, some music isn't taken seriously, even though it totally is.
True.
Keith was saying the same thing earlier, actually, about how he was doing a lot of Giant Claw stuff in response to some of the facts that in the noise or experimental world, only like the dark, really like droney, scary stuff it was taken more seriously than things that could have a little bit more humor in them. You know what I mean? A little bit more playfulness in them, and that's like Keith did a lot of music, in his own way, was trying to do that in his own musical world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
That's a great take, man.
He was saying very similar thing.
We needed that. We needed that influx, that just little boost of positivity. We're bringing on a good buddy, a good friend of us all. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Alex. Pacific Plaza has just joined the chat. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Alex? God, this hard-working man right here, Alex.
Alex constantly infuses his live sets with a lot of disco and a lot of just positive, fun, just good time types of music. So what do you think about what Aaron just said?
Yeah, I think like fun stuff and like playfulness is good. I mean,
and it can be taken seriously.
I'd say
right?
like the thing with Pacific Plaza specifically, like we don't lean towards just like one mood. Like I definitely like having like different types of stuff on the label.
Yeah,
very true.
But yeah, I think if you stick to one mood, unless like your whole visual aesthetic and branding is based around that mood, like you gotta have a little fun. Especially like the times that we're going through. You gotta have a mixture of like fun, seriousness, and like self-reflection.
100% agree.
Yeah.
You guys are dropping a new album here. Am I not right? I want to say.
Am I dropping a new album, or is the label dropping?
The label. Sorry, I should clarify.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff coming up for the beginning of the year. I like did the whole thing where you just like don't release stuff around the holidays, and I was like, we gotta just like wait everybody, and then some other things kind of like popped up. Some people's releases just like take a long time to get put together, and some things are kind of like planned. So like the Dad Girl stuff we like planned.
That was mostly what I was referencing. The
yeah,
Data Girls
and then the Patch Notes thing
classic
kind of
paper.
came up recently in December when they sent me their album, and I was like, yo, this is tight. And the Van Gogh stuff, we had been talking about that in the fall, and I was like, let's just wait till the beginning of the year to do it.
Yeah.
And there's a Riverwave EP. It's more like a mini album, really.
Ooh,
that's like the next
Riverwave.
thing that's going to be announced, but like they're really awesome, and I'm like
yeah.
excited to announce that because that's like an artist I DJ a lot. under their different
Vaporwave has
aliases.
been around for a
and,
long
got a lot
time.
of respect for them, and I asked them, if they want to make something for Pacific Plaza, and they made this release just for us. So pretty cool.
Awesome.
That's
Very
exciting. Man. I'm
Very
happy to
exciting.
hear that.
You're like Alex is like a Swiss Army knife of vaporwave.
Very
Alex is
much
like
so.
everything he does, like all the different things.
Like, do I ask about the
whether it
DJing,
be
the label, the music
Yeah,
that Alex has
that's
made?
part of, like,
Which
the,
one?
That's part of the, like the
Art he
label's
makes-
identity.
art he
It's
makes-
like we do
he
everything.
makes
Literally
Like
everything.
no other labels
Instrument-
can do that for you in this scene, and like that's why like I'm hoping like this year we might get some bigger artists that want to work with the label. But I already do. I just like have a lot in motion because it's like me and Mr. Mello were kind of like
Shout
looking
out
back
Spencer.
over last year, realized
Yeah.
in like the second half of the year we didn't put out like a lot of new music, and we got to keep putting out new music.
Mhm.
So that's something I got had to like look back on. As much as I am going to keep reissuing like old stuff, including stuff from a guy in this chat right now.
Sick.
We are like got to put out new music all the time, and like we're picking up new artists and like hoping when COVID stuff gets better, we can book more shows for people. Because no other label's gonna book you shows except for like us, and I guess like Virtua 94.
No.
They're booking shows
yeah.
for people.
True.
They're cool guys.
Oh gosh! Shout out Virtua 94. Absolutely, Victor and Andrew, the goats. I wouldn't even. Terminally Chill wouldn't be what it is without those guys helping me out and
Right.
and setting up the chill station and everything.
Yeah,
And
if I had,
DJing.
like stayed. Well, I didn't stay at Victor's house. I guess I kicked it with him and Andrew right before Econ
Cool
won,
group of
and like
guys.
they were
They're
telling
the
me about
best.
vaporwave
They're the
shows that
best.
they had thrown, and were telling me about Teach Chill, and I was like, damn, that's what I'm trying to do out in California. Like we have
Oh,
a
yeah.
You
day
seem
going,
like
and we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You just the consistency. That's the other thing too that I noticed. With Alex and his label and the show and then the virtual memory stuff is like the consistency. You know what I mean? Like I think that's the hardest thing for people is to develop that consistency of like running this and doing this and keeping this. And, like,
Yeah, I mean, like
creating this
Angel
level
even
of
pointed that out.
you know what
that
you're gonna get
You
with
gotta
Pacific
just
Plaza.
send out tapes and prove that you're gonna send out like thousands of orders before you can like work with serious
Oh, I
artists.
saw you pop
So,
in the
like,
chat when we brought that up.
I'd send
Yeah, I saw
thousands
that
of orders
too.
out, and I definitely shipped my shit. So,
wow.
Well, guys,
you
let's
gotta,
say goodnight to
you gotta
Aaron.
prove yourself. There's a lot of people who are just like they don't prove themselves and they expect to be like hooked up or like they're like, oh,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I want
True.
to play your show or release on your label, and it's like I have a lot of plans and stuff I talk to and people I'm working with, and like you always realize that like it's nice to work with people you become friends with. So like Aaron,
110.
Kaiju,
People that are
like, it's
reliable.
great working
Mhm.
together over and over. That's why we put out as like another album in 2021.
Yeah.
And same thing with Data Girl. She really wanted to do a release on DMT, and I was like, cool, let's also do a physical because people are going to want that, and we'll just do that one together. So we're going to do that on physical. But like also got to bring like new people into the game.
Yeah.
For sure.
You got to keep new blood, new.
Big up some newer artists, like both
Always.
Patch Notes and Van Gogh are on the Vaporwave Up and Comers list that just came out. So, gotta keep it fresh.
Guys, let's send Aaron off. Thanks so much for
Peace,
joining
y'all.
us,
Thanks for
buddy.
having me.
Love you so much.
Thanks, buddy.
Later,
Talk to you
Alex.
soon, Aaron.
Have a lovely night and
All
sleep
y'all.
well.
Talk all the time.
Sorry.
Peace.
Gotta say goodbye. Don't want to just kick him. Well, Alex, I don't know which direction I wanna come at it from. I guess my question would be, since you do all three, since you release, make music and DJ music, what is your favorite music? Do you have a favorite genre?
What's my like favorite singular genre? That's hard because
Exactly why
like
I asked it.
I would say it's podcasts. I just listen to podcasts.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
I like
There's my
podcasts.
hot take.
I listen to a lot.
I listen to a lot of
podcasts, too, like-
podcasts.
True.
Yeah, I like it. It's like I have like a friend with me, like telling me something.
I'm actually
I guess
terrible. I
in
listen to
2021. Yeah, in 2021, I like
no,
dug
I don't.
back.
I'm terrible.
I dug
Not
back
at all.
into like music I used to listen to a lot in the past. At the end of 2021, because I got a Spotify account because I was like, this is part of running a label, how
Right.
expensive, and
It is.
like
You're not wrong.
write it off my taxes essentially. So for all you artists out there, you should write your Spotify costs off your taxes if you write off the cost of being a musician, which you can do.
You
Can I
heard
ask
it
you,
here on
Alex,
Hot
when
Takes.
you go
Yeah.
back,
So I listen to like a couple Broken Social Scene records I really like, and King
Yes.
Convenience and Swedish music,
Best
and
indie
like
rock.
Tough Alliance and stuff.
is when you go back and listen to old music that you used to listen to, maybe don't as much anymore. Is it a different experience for you, or do you feel like you're the same person you were when you were listening to it then? Because I actually have some trouble sometimes going back and listening to even music I still loved and respect very greatly, but like sometimes it's not the same anymore. Or is it always the same?
There's some music I have like a really intense emotional connection with that I guess maybe if I go back to, like, I don't feel the same because I've gotten older and more mature. But like I could still go back and listen to like Fall Out Boy records and like Motion City soundtrack albums and listen to like Hello Goodbye and like still get pretty amped up. I mean, I got to be in the right mood.
Yeah, and you got to like set it down and not hear it for a little while and then rediscover it.
I think it makes sense that like I like finally started learning to DJ like dance music because like I always like to curate like the music I listen to myself. Like I want to listen to certain things during certain times or like when I'm in certain places. Like when I was driving Earth Boy up to the Bay Area when we did that thing in Vapor, I was like, yo, we got to listen to this song by Barry White and the Love Unlimited Orchestra, because we used to always listen to the song when we would like drive into the Bay and be able to like see the city for the first time.
That must have been a fun time.
Oh yeah,
that drive up with Earth Boy and Vapor and Jeff. That must have been really fun.
And then like NRL, well, I think you might have slept through this, but like when we drove through Stockton on the way back from Davis, I was like, yo, I got to put on like my favorite Pavement record because we're driving through Stockton.
Oh, nice. What is your favorite Pavement record?
Crooked Rain.
Crooked Rain is great.
Yeah, so I always listen to that driving through Stockton.
You do a lot. You do a lot of driving, my guy. I've noticed. So I imagine podcasts and old favorites.
I like driving.
Yeah. You know what I really love? I want to bring this up really quick though. What I love with Alex is not only doing his own thing, but like unifying other places together. You have done
very much so.
Multiple events now with my dear, co-manager for Terminally Chill, Agnes Fantacat. Now, like you, guys have collaborated multiple times
she's
now.
The best. Like I'm not
very best.
She's great.
Shout out Fantacat.
What's up, Nathan?
Yeah, oh, that's
what up.
In Rails in the house.
Shout out really quick, shout out Fantacat and Terminally Chill NorCal. Shout out to all the phenomenal hard work that she does over there. I couldn't. Terminally Chill wouldn't be what it is without her.
Dude, that shit was so much fun. Like,
it looks so fun. When I saw that footage that you. Oh my god! Now that I have both of you guys in here.
Jealous.
Oh my god! So
see, I engineered this shit.
You know what? I want to give a compliment to NRail on his performance at T-Chill, because when you're performing in front of an audience that's more of just like a general audience that wants to party, like you can't just like play what you like. You do have to play some stuff the audience is gonna like. So there were a couple like exclusive remixes and mashups that NRail dropped that were like
Why does that not surprise me at all?
And then I noticed when you played the next night, well, two nights later for our URL show, you leaned even more into that, and that's like such a move. So
dude is a sick ass DJ.
And like Earth Boy learned that going back again, like just straight up DJ'd and like picked bangers that like could appeal to vaporwave people, but also just random people at the bar and college students, people that like remember
that's the trick, man.
Digital people that remember digital culture, like whether that's Daft Punk or like Trevor, Earth Boy's been playing like DDR songs and a bunch of his sets that just go off.
Oh yeah, it works really, really well.
Yeah, you gotta know how to do that as a DJ, or else you're not really like a DJ. Like there'll be vaporwave shows where people can perform their original music and play their SPs, but like playing virtual memory or playing T-Chill is like not the same.
Yeah, you're trying to get people in.
It's kind of tricky to bounce back and explain that to people.
Between like performative DJing, where you're performing as the DJ, but you're the artist, and this is a performative DJ set. You have all your stuff lined up, and maybe you've got some samplers and synths too, but you're DJing. And then there's like club DJing, right? That's like it's about the audience. It's not about you as much.
No, you guys are being totally correct about that, because like I should have like tripled down on like the idea of playing, the club setting or whatever, because I could tell.
You're good at that shit.
When I did play at the T-Chill, I could tell I would play a song I made that was like a trap song, and like not much movement going on. So I would like make a mental note. I was like, okay, so like people love four on the floor
Oh, yeah.
shit and shit they know. Shit they
Yes,
already
they do.
know. My songs have 150 streams on Spotify. None of these people know who I
Some of the
am.
stuff you
I
sample
need
There's a
has a
time and a
lot
place
of
to play
notoriety.
the trappy
And when
stuff
you
or to
did
play
those
your
kind of stuff,
song. There's a
it's great.
time and a place during the night. It's just like you gotta like wait for it sometimes.
Yeah,
You gotta let it breathe a little bit too. You gotta give the audience breaks.
See
You
what the
can't
audience
play
is
an hour's
doing and
worth
when
of
they're ready.
bangers.
You gotta like see when the audience is ready for something that they may not know they're ready for.
Alex, did you want to drop a hot take on Nathan really quick before we say goodbye?
Oh, I didn't realize my hot take was
Yeah.
going to be dropped on.
Dropped on InRail.
Well, I mean,
But
Nathan's
as a
gonna
general
respond to it
hot
too.
take,
He's here.
gosh, I don't really know if I have a hot take for Nathan.
Well, it doesn't have to be for
It's
Nathan.
okay.
If you
My,
just
my,
want
my
Nathan.
general hot take was going to be that to be like taken seriously as a vaporwave label and be considered a big label, you have to like reissue some classic record by a well-known artist, and I think that's bullshit.
It is a little bit like,
but it's clearly,
that's
it's
kinda-
clearly
that's
true,
right.
and that's clearly how it works.
That is kind of like the case, isn't it? You have to do that first a few times before you can get people to pay attention to something else.
That's
It's a great end.
And that's kind of BS,
happened a
but
lot,
you know that's
yeah.
the world we live in.
It's the world we live in, man. It's the game you got to play.
Well, buddy, I do not disagree, and I want to thank you for staying up so late to join us. Well, I guess it's not super late in Pacific time.
Not that late for them. They're in the
It
weather.
ain't late for you at all.
Experimenting
Poor,
with
poor
late.
Chris. I'm sorry.
I'm the late one right now. Anyway, go ahead. We're
Can't wait to see you again
thank you for being
IRL.
here, man. Alex, love you very much. Thank you
Good
so much.
friend of the show. Thank you for being such an artist supporter, Alex.
All right, that'll be good.
Good night, buddy.
Bye-bye. Man, it's nice being here again.
Dude,
Nice.
We're so happy to have you again.
the iClick
We
episode
loved
was
it.
so much goddamn fun, dude.
Oh my
That
god,
was a lot of fun.
That was the most fun watching you and Will talk back and forth. I just loved the banter. It was great.
Chris brings
Yeah,
it
I
up
love-
all the time, like about how much
I
fun
love-
he had.
I love arguing with him. We have such a good dynamic in that sense. Like we can literally just say, "No, you're stupid," and just just rebound off of that into something like serious and vice versa. It's a lot of fun.
Hey, I want to ask you the question. What is vaporwave to you?
Man, vaporwave isn't even real. Like to me, like
It's all you. Yeah.
the vapor
Go
in
on.
vaporwave.
Go off. Go off. Yeah. I
to
love
be
it.
honest, like who cares what vaporwave is? Like it's a personal interpretation. Like
It's a
vaporwave
lot
to
of
me,
fun.
What's it to you?
it's like this music sounds cool as fuck and I love it. And then there, like on top of that, there's deeper meaning and nostalgia. I'm a very nostalgic person. I will.
Yeah, you are.
I will look at like old Lego sets I had for hours on end and like find all these TV shows and movies I used to watch and be like, oh, remember that? And that brings
I
me-
remember in Rosewood Video Chat one time you went back home and you had like opened up this box of like old stuff that you had when you were a kid or some shit.
Oh yeah,
Super good,
like
super fun
I
time.
love doing that stuff. It just makes me feel so fucking like happy and like emotional. And that shit is like a big inspiration to like I guess me and my music, and that could be one of the reasons why I like vaporwave so much. And why
So
I'm
nostalgia works for you.
No, it totally does. But nostalgia is different for everyone.
It
For
is.
me, I feel
Yeah.
that shit so strongly. I'm nostalgic for something that happened a year ago.
Right.
Like I can just like, I have these different like I don't know how to describe it. It's something I've been feeling for like 10 or 15 years. But like a certain like small period in my life, like
Nobody
period of-
cared until an artist named Nrail released Space World 2000.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Porter.
god. That was
Bombed by Porter
Nobody
Vaughn.
Damn, he's right about
Saint
that. No one
Paul.
really cares.
I gotta go back and watch that video again.
That shit
now,
was
'cause that's like the
funny.
That Nrail promo is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
I didn't even know you at that
Thank you
time,
for-
and I remember
Thank you
seeing
for
it.
watching the Vaporwave movie.
Dude, I was like, I'm gonna rebound off this vaporwave movie thing that's going on. I'm gonna make something really stupid. And then I like made it, and I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. Like this isn't as funny as I wanted it to be. Like
to you maybe.
Pretty fucking funny.
And then I was like, fuck it, I'll just tweet it. And then it exploded, and I was like, I didn't really. I mean, this is kind of what I wanted, but this is not what I wanted it to happen to. Like, you know,
oh
like
my God.
something. I literally like recorded that.
Like your music, maybe, rather than. Like
yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Hey, one thing at a time. It's hey, that still was yeah.
Nathan, what is a genre that you hope never ever gets used as source material for vaporwave?
Oh fuck, dude, that's a. What the fuck? Where'd you get that question from?
I didn't see that one coming either.
I mean, listen, you draw from a lot of various sources, you know, and we're about to bring on a guest who doesn't make vaporwave at all. So, you know, I gotta ask, you know, like, what's something that you think just could never ever work?
Let me think. There's definitely some shit that should.
You're
just
also
be
an
fucking...
iClick, and y'all sample everything, so I
Yeah.
had to ask you a hard one, dog.
The thing is, like, you're right. I do, like, I am kind of like steal everything, like sample everything. Doesn't matter who, but like, I feel like there has to be something that's just fucking sacred and can't be like slowed down and turned into something else.
I mean, people have even made vaporwave out of like VBS Sunday school music. I want to say.
I mean, the cop out, the cop out answer I could say is I hope vaporwave doesn't get sampled into vaporwave or whatever.
Oh damn!
But that's just because it doesn't make sense. I think.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't make it's a paradox.
Yeah, there's just some kinds of music that like. I think it's more of a specific. It's not a genre thing. It's just a specific thing where I'm like, I don't like how this sounds at all, and you know, like. Slowing it down won't make it sound any better. Just like some people's voices, like there's some voices, like there's this like thing with like modern pop and EDM music where they'll have a female singer with a voice that's like and like
the cursive singing.
Yeah, I can't
stand that shit. I know it makes me sound old, but damn. Singing in cursive is just the worst.
It could be the best song of all time, but if I like, well, there's just like some kinds of voices that I'm like, I don't want to listen to this. This is like physically like.
Sometimes like that actually happens to me with like an EDM song that I like the drop for, or I like the bridge in, and then like I can't stand the vocals.
Fair.
Yeah,
that's definitely something that can ruin a song fast.
This dude,
what's up, Dylan? Sorry, Nathan, didn't mean to cut you off. Dylan just jumped in. Corey Mist is here.
Hi.
Hey.
This Oliver Tree song that went viral on TikTok, and like, it's kind of the worst song I've ever heard. Actually,
yikes!
It's annoying.
I had to hear this now.
You gotta admit, he is funny though.
Yeah, no, I used to be friends with him on Facebook in like 2015. He used to be a dubstep guy and work with other.
Oh, really? I
dubstep
didn't know
guys.
that. Oh.
Yeah, and then but this one song, like, I'm just like, dude, I know you can do better than this. It just goes like goes on and on and on and on. Like, there's no diversity to it. It's fucking drony and like monotonous and gross sounding for some reason.
I really do like it in real when you have like a strong opinion about something you don't like, and it's just like you double down.
Instead
on
of
it.
shitting on it, he just like makes fun of it, and it's twice as funny.
It's so funny.
Yeah, I don't want to be like. I don't want to be like mean or rude to anyone.
No,
oh, you never are. You're one of the kindest people I know.
Some stuff that just like really gets to me. I really need to fucking like express how much something like leaves an impression in my mind and like lingers with me. Like I've only had the absolute displeasure of hearing that part of the song probably 4 times in my life, and it stuck with me because of how just horrid sounding it is.
Horrid.
I'm talking about this too much.
Give us a.
bit of a tough critic, it sounds like. So does that tough critic sort of thing like bleed into your production when you make music? Are you pretty tough on yourself, or do you just let it flow?
The thing is like, I don't know why I just went in so fucking balls deep into that. Maybe it's because I have COVID right now and I'm loopy, but I find redeeming qualities in all music except for that fucking stupid Oliver Tree song. There are redeeming qualities to all music. You can make something cool out of any song, and that's awesome. So there's never like a song that's just purely just like useless and worthless and uninteresting. There's always got to be something about it. And like I love bad music and bad things too. I think they're just as good as good things because they're funny, and I love funny shit. I love laughing. Like I love that Kid Rock song where he was talking about like being an anti-vaxxer and stuff. I thought that was the funniest thing of all time. Like obviously it's not like I support this guy because he's speaking the truth. It's like, this is hilarious.
It's absurd that it exists. Absurdity is
very absurdism.
Yeah,
absurdism is very.
Nathan, you got a hot take you want to drop on us before we let you go?
Yeah. So basically, my hot take was I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter and stuff. They always reference the music they make as sample free or sample based, and like make a big like distinguishing like. People think it's basically the main premise of what I'm trying to say is the product is the most important thing. The process is like the process of making something is kind of an afterthought. If I don't think the song sounds good and it took like 7 years to make and you had to like climb Mount Everest and like do 8 handstands in a row to make it, I still won't think the music is good.
Wild.
I think like you could literally just take a song and slow it down and do nothing else to it, release it, and you could create the same thing by like farting into a microphone and like manipulating the sample like crazy amounts and like literally recreating it just using one fart sound, and it would still be the same song and it would still be good if I liked it, you know?
So you're saying it doesn't matter whether it's
I'll take it.
Really hard. Bad music is bad music no matter how hard it was to make it.
Well,
and good music is good music no matter how hard or easy it was to make it.
Yeah.
I like that. What do you think about that, Dylan? Dylan, are you with us, buddy?
Dylan?
Chlorine mist?
Wait, about what?
Oh,
there you go.
About
Nathan said that he values.
Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you great. Nathan said that he values the outcome of a work of art over the process of creating that work of art.
I'm like delayed a little bit, I think.
Are you?
Hello?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Do you hear me right now?
Yeah, you sound great.
Yes.
I hear it like delayed by like 10 seconds.
Oh damn.
Do you have the stream running in the background?
I said that like 10 seconds before.
Oh, wild. You can drop out and come back in real
That's
quick.
weird. I shouldn't even hear myself in the headphones.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. I think you got a monitor thing going on.
You have the stream running?
Come back in.
Hello, hello.
Well, anyway, why don't we let him drop out?
Yeah. Should I pause the stream?
Yeah, pause the stream,
yeah.
bro. Or if you need to,
Hello?
like log out of Discord and come back.
Yeah, come back. We'll be here.
Oh, I can't hear this.
Well, Nathan, I will say that I really, really appreciate that you put that out there because I thoroughly agree. I respect when people put a lot of effort. I mean, you know when something is objectively difficult to make. And you got to respect it just because it was objectively difficult to make, but if it doesn't move you, it's like
Yeah, no, that like there's a ton of respect involved, obviously. Like I was saying, like you could climb Mount Everest and blah blah blah. And I would respect that. I'd be like, wow, that's like really cool how that was made and how, you know, interesting and all the shit they went through to make this.
Of course.
So if I don't like the song, then I don't like the song, you know?
it's just not much that can be done about that. Dylan, are you with us now?
I can hear you by playing the stream.
Okay.
But how do I hear you through the Discord?
You got me, man. Do me a solid, man. Log out of your Discord and get back into it.
Man, that's.
And if that doesn't work, just join on your phone, bro.
Yeah, just join your phone if you can't do it any other way.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to hear what you have to say tonight. Anyways, yeah.
Well, I suppose we
really
Mesh
agree with.
on.
Yeah, Mesh is still in here. He's just muted.
He's just chilling.
I wish we could get...
Welcome back, Dylan.
Oh, Mesh didn't try doing it on his phone, did he?
No,
you tried doing that?
He said he's not going to do it tonight.
All right, we're going to bring him then on another time because I want to talk to Alex. Maybe we can bring Tech on too. Maybe
there we go. We'll get Tech and Mesh.
We get like both of them on actually for a little while since they both couldn't come on.
Is there still a delay?
Okay, I'm on my phone now.
Okay.
Oh, okay, great. How you doing now? You hear us?
Yeah, I hear you.
That's what I'm talking
Perfect.
about.
Perfect.
Okay,
There we go.
Troubleshoot
that.
So
Perfect.
Nathan, thank you for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and sayonara to you.
Thank you for having me.
Love you so much, buddy, and feel better, okay?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Good night,
Peace
dog.
out.
So, Dylan,
Hey, guys.
I have grilled you in the past about your production methodology and really geeked out over various songs that you and James made. What do you think about easy songs that were easy to make that just sound amazing versus songs that were hard to make that don't sound very good? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it completely doesn't matter at the end of the day. Although it can be really like impressive if a song was hard to make. Like if you listen to like progressive rock or something like King Crimson,
right,
or like Yes or something, then like a big part of it is like how blown away you are by like how like everyone is shredding so hard, or you know like
all the technical expertise,
like Hella or something like.
I feel it.
Stuff like that. Like battles, a lot of that. It's like
yeah, like math rock type stuff.
Like really great drummer, like that is really hard to do, and it's like really cool sounding. But you can also just make something. You could just click something out on your computer in 5 minutes, and if you have good taste, you could make something that's like awesome.
There have been a handful of songs that you've made that I've just gushed over the production. I think I actually played one of them earlier tonight. And I think you noticed it too. And you've shared some of the secrets, and I'm not a producer, but I respect a fun story, and you're no stranger to sample-based material, but you really warp a lot of your material into something like completely different from what you drew upon.
Yeah, and that's I think that at that point you're really, it's like how last guy was saying that really doesn't matter that much at that point whether it's sample based or not. Really, because at that point you're using it almost like an instrument. Like it's not even really a sample. It's like as much a sample as if you were sample. You could say like that. Like if you're playing the piano, are you like sampling the guy who invented the piano? Like not really.
Right. Do you need to invent the piano in order to make original music? Like, damn.
Yeah, like not really. Yeah. It's all about how you do it.
I mean,
you
like
only play instruments you invent.
Jesus Christ, can you imagine? Quick question for you, Dylan, before we get into your hot take. What is your favorite live show that you've attended?
That's an interesting question.
Well, recently I saw the Smashing Pumpkins live, and they were incredible. They were
really
like,
okay.
In the 90s, it was fantastic. That was just like last year I saw them.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and they had the whole original lineup besides Darcy. But it was fantastic. It was one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Hell yeah, dude.
Well, those people are consummate professionals. Like, you can't do that long, playing that many arenas, that many tours, and
Right.
not be just blow people away. Like
True.
A band like Smashing Pumpkins comes on, it's like, well, step aside, kids. Let me show you how this is done. And they've
Seriously.
been doing that. That is an impressive thing to see people who have mastered the art of playing to huge audiences. That's a crazy art to master as a band.
Right. And it's so, like, every single song, like, I have all the lyrics memorized.
Oh, unbelievable.
Just listening when I was a kid. And it's like,
That's
it was
special.
so powerful. So
What's your
dynamic,
favorite?
so much
What's
to
your
it.
favorite Smashing Pumpkins album?
Well, Siamese Dream is probably the most perfect one. It's like perfect from start to finish.
Yeah.
It's like amazing. But
I agree.
but then that whole that whole chain of albums, the Siamese Dream, then Melancholy, and then Adore, and then Machina were like all amazing.
Yeah, Machina's great. I really love Stand Inside Your Love. Is one of my
Right,
favorite
that's
songs.
one of my favorites. And
Yeah.
yeah, I remember the first show that I ever played in my life when I was like 14 in high school. We played a cover of The Everlasting Gaze from Machina.
Oh, wow.
I am
Yeah,
a
it was really
Philistine
fun.
that has not listened to very much Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, you gotta check that
I'm gonna
out.
have to get the essential playlist from you later on after this.
They're like a band that, like, it's kind of like they weren't seen as like the best band at the time. It was everyone thought Nirvana was like the best.
Right.
band
This is like a
in the 90s.
Britpop grunge era type thing.
Right, but if you like look back on it, I feel like Smashing Pumpkins' music has stood the test of time way more than any other band of the 90s, besides
Wow.
maybe Korn.
Or like Radiohead, maybe.
Yeah, Radiohead.
Oh, dude. We should have kept Rail around for a minute. Could have had a Korn versus Linkin Park debate.
All right, let's not go there. I definitely agree about Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh my god. Well, Dylan, we are winding down from our almost 4-hour broadcast, but I want to hear what your hot take for us is going to be before we go gently into that good night.
Okay, I had a bunch of lists, but I agreed with the last guy. He said that genres, or that vaporwave is not real. I would say that pretty much applies to all genres. They aren't really real.
Yeah.
They're just something that we made up, and
True.
we're imagining that they are. It's something that we pretend exists because it makes it easier to describe music, and
Very true.
it's like a reference point, but it's not real. Every artist is actually a unique artist, unless they are just completely copying something else.
Right.
But there's there's certain but I mean, to an extent it's real, but I feel like people like act like it's real more than it actually is.
Yeah,
Although
sure
it's
is.
very useful for marketing music, and it's very useful for or in that way, so that you can like quickly try to give people an idea of what you're
It
selling,
communicates an idea
So I
really
think- well,
efficiently.
hold on. So I do think that like a lot of people, as humans, we do create genres. It's in the same way we try to create everything. We want to understand the world. We don't like chaos. It's very difficult for us to process, every single individual person as unique, or every individual artist is unique. So we create these
Right.
little things to
We
sort
want
of
to
just
know
make it easier.
things.
Right. It's like it's a way that we simplify our world to make it easier to
So
describe. Because
go ahead, I'm sorry.
otherwise music would be like impossible to describe.
Yes.
Because it's all just things that we don't have words for.
I always appreciated learning about not really genres for music, but so much as like I liked it when I heard about like a movement where a bunch of artists were involved. Like when I talk about vaporwave, I'm not even really talking about the sound. I'm like talking about like, oh, vaporwave. I remember when I came up and it was like me, and I remember Luxury Elite being around, and Nmesh being around, and Otto, and George Clanton when he was Mirror Kisses. And I think about like when I group my music, I think about it like I always like it
Right.
better. When I think about artists as friends with each other who were influenced by each other and bounced.
Yeah, that actually makes
not
sense.
even bounced ideas off
Like
each
it's-
other, even when they weren't
like
talking
a
to each other because they were.
community.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I always like that better. Like and I think about like I don't know, like the Elephant Six group, and it's like
Right.
like the Hotel and Apples in the Stereo and Olivia Newton, Olivia Tremor Control.
Yeah, sure.
And-
And then like you could say like
they don't all
post rock or stuff
Yeah,
like Like that's a clearly defined like thing, or just bands that sound like explosions in the sky.
Hell yeah! Shout out
For the
Explosions in the
less
Sky.
clearly defined, yeah, I prefer the less clearly defined stuff, and the more like, oh, these were a group of different, interesting artists that kind of like, came up together and listened to each other's music, and even though they weren't like exactly exchanging ideas, they were still exchanging ideas because everybody listened to each other's music.
Right. Yeah, and there's like certain things where I could say like it is pretty clearly defined, like footwork music. Like,
hell yeah, love some footwork.
I mean, it certainly is like although I mean, it's so abstract and so different, but it is like you can tell when you're putting on a footwork song.
Yes,
Like,
you
this
can.
is obviously a footwork
It
song.
has those triplets or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see genre being useful in that way, and yeah, some stuff is very specific to a genre sound. But I know that for myself, I always wanted to be involved in a movement that wasn't so much based around a sound as it was based around a group of unique individual artists that thought very interestingly, but had
Right.
things in common. You know what I mean? And they were just like came up, like I think about like even like with authors and stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's fun that like there's a world in which like Hemingway and Fitzgerald kind of knew each other, even though their books are different. They all hang out with, Anyway,
Right.
there's different things here.
Yeah, I mean that's when it's like I feel like that's like much more interesting too. It's like
The stories
because
behind
it's
those,
a story.
yeah.
And it's like there's a story. You know what I
True.
mean? And it's
Yeah.
always fun when the artists you like, when the artists you like know each other and are friends with each other, as opposed
Right.
to just like everyone's sound and no one even knows each other.
Well, Green
And,
Nova kind of had that going on, Dylan, and you fucked with the Green Nova
Yeah.
crew. Like that's
Yeah,
kind of an example of
that's
like
true.
an organic, like location based.
Yeah, you would know a lot
collective.
about this actually because you've been involved in these sorts of things.
Right, and it's like I would say, like I mean, like if I was talking in a real sense, I would say, like cloud rap really isn't a real genre. It's like there's just a lot of artists that had some stuff in common, and they were all influencing each other.
True.
But if you like go to each artist, it's not like they're all like the same thing.
Good example.
They're not
Yeah.
really all limited by.
I
the
mean,
same
those Coochie
boundaries,
Beer
but-
Network mixtapes really meshed and gelled well together. But you're right, it was a
Right,
lot of
they did,
different.
yeah. That's
A
true.
lot of different producers kind of doing their own thing and just iron sharpening
Very
iron,
true.
baby.
Sometimes it does like beautifully work out like that. But it's like I feel like I've always felt like the way that I've approached music myself is like if I feel like I could easily pigeonhole it with just like this is this wave or that
Right.
like that wave, then I don't know. To me, that feels like it's cheap.
Rapid
cheap like that. It's like I feel like I'm making something that's like cookie cutter when I was like, and if I'm just making something to fit like a pre-existing, recipe, then am I really expressing myself? Am I really, like creating something?
Yeah.
It's a fair
I mean, to
question.
an extent you are, but I think it's more interesting when you're making something that is not easy to just pigeonhole into this is that wave.
This or that. Well, Chris, I see you starting to look tired there, dog. Should we wrap it up, fellas?
I'm probably gonna have to go to bed soon.
Sounds like
It
it's
is about
tap
1
out
a.m.
time. Dylan,
All
thank
right,
you so
cool,
much for
guys.
joining us.
Thank you, man.
Really
Love
appreciate
you,
you
buddy.
setting aside this time.
We really do need to get like everybody back on again. at some point.
Absolutely.
It's
Right. We're putting out collection 2 scheduled for
Oh yes.
this July.
Oh yeah.
And
let's get back on let's do another podcast.
Let's
before I
do
put
it.
that out.
Chris,
dude.
if you recall, they used a little bit of our interview with Dylan to promote Collection 2.
I did see
I
that.
had to
Yeah,
pass
that's
it on to the
awesome.
homie. Thank you for that, by the way.
Thank you.
But
yeah,
we
for
will.
sure.
There will be a 2.0, and especially for poor Mesh, who never got to have his 15 minutes of fame tonight. So, Dylan,
All right,
you
guys.
sleep well and be safe. And good night.
Thanks, buddy.
You too. Good night, guys.
Bye now. Just quickly, thank you so much, Chris, for spending the lion's share of your night here with the Hot Takes Horde. Thank you, guys.
Man, I mean, the honor to have all our wonderful, extremely talented friends graciously come on.
I wanna-
to this.
You can
It's
tap
just
out as
such an-
soon as you're ready, but I want to just specifically shout out Zodikas Karamazov, Quiz, Soft Replica,
Yeah.
otherwise known as Farplane, Pacific Plaza, just mainstays, Luxury Elite, people who've been here since day one or have at least made this a regular part of their routine. OGs in the scene that have been here the whole time. Christ is still in the green room. Porter Vaughn, sorry, they changed their name. I want to thank B Fanty and Sega Octopus and DS Dude
and Sega
and Indie Advent and Luxury Elite for all the help. This is kind of sort of like an unofficial close to the first season. We do not know who our next guest is going to be yet, but coming up here pretty soon, we will make an announcement. And I hope you all have a lovely night, and thank you so much for your support. And last thing, the winner of the raffle for the only remaining VHS copy of my Outrun Synthwave DJ set with visuals by the lovely and skilled Luxury Elite is Frigid Kitty. So, Kim, you'll be getting that VHS here pretty soon. Good night. We're going to run... Did you want to make an announcement? I was going to run your ad again real quick.
No. Yeah,
it's late, dude. Go to bed. Good night, everybody. We're going to run Chris's ad for his album, and thank you so much for tuning in. We love you guys.
All right, on these records.
Peace.
With the correct